Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because tonight's going to be a bumpy one here on Sportswire Radio. Because, you might be saying to yourself, well, how could we top last night with Austin G, who was dropping grenade after grenade? And some might have certainly got the grenade. Others, it probably kind of glanced over their heads. And maybe it was a bad thing and a bad omen for Mr. Austin G to be on Sportswire Radio. Because after all, he just lost that ESW Shockwave Championship earlier today on Sportswire Radio and Extreme Rumbles 10. So you might want to tune in there on that. But our guest here tonight is, I guess, one of the few people that we haven't had on Sportswire Radio over the past 5.5 years, and really over the past year in the backyard. And actually, we have a tie, he and I, and it's a tie for a different PWF. And maybe I'll get into that because, after all, he was a two-time PWF Uprising champion, and I do own a portion of that company now. We'll certainly talk about that. We'll also talk about the fact he's kind of the Rick Rude of backyard and underground wrestling, because think about this, ladies and gentlemen. In the span of 3 weeks, he was at Final Destination 3 in the main event. He was on TBW Anniversary 7's last week, and tonight he's here on Sportswire Radio. And as I stated, on top of that, a few short days ago, BYCW Speed Limit 5, Night 2 for the World Championship. And certainly this man, I guess maybe he's backyard and underground wrestling's version of Switzerland. Well, he'll talk about that, I'm sure, and talk about what happened last year, May 13th, 2023, in the UWA, which nearly had his life and his career flash before his own very eyes. He might even talk about a match he had nearly 2 years ago with the shirt from this guy, a headline and a main event, Aaron Blaze, who, after all, right before I was getting ready to introduce our guest and get ready to go on the air, I received this in the mail. And no, it wasn't a cease and desist letter from XCW and Josh Fletcher. No, it wasn't from Austin G, a grenade after last night's appearance. Well, like I said, he lost that ESW Shockwave Championship. It was actually an Aaron Blaze shirt to kind of remind our guest about what happened when they squared off in the ring that time for the BYCW Championship. But also our guest tonight will talk about many familiar faces and many legends of Sportswire Radio and in the backyard and the underground that he shared a locker room with. I don't know, Jack Delta, the now outsider Jack Delta, who was on Sportswire Radio with a new look a few weeks ago and a shiny new belt, and James Taylor, well, my very good friend James Taylor, who, of course, now I actually bought the Promo Wrestling Federation from, and James will be back Tuesday, so we'll talk about that. And, of course, James shared a locker room with our guest many times, and maybe even a guy, Ledger Shade, I might even bring up to our guest, because he's got some history with him. Plus, I'll talk about a slew of names in TBW, UWA, and who knows where else. Maybe I'll even mention somebody else in another state that you might have to stay tuned for. But there is no question that this has been one of the long-awaited guests to finally come on this platform. And you can see he's so excited that he's coming on, he's coming off the stream, because it's obviously a long time in the making. And he's kind of wondering, well, how do I top Aaron Blaze? He was here 5 weeks ago. How do I top Ledger Shade? How do I top Jack Delta? Well, James Taylor is always here, so don't worry about that. I mean, how do I top Austin G? Well, I have a feeling you'll be in for a much more of a friendlier crowd, maybe more friendlier terrain than Mr. Austin G was. And maybe even the show Thursday was almost like the version of Howard Stern and the Whack Pack on Sportswire Radio. And I could see you're so excited tonight, but there's no question the resume of our guest speaks volumes. 8 times the BYCW champion of the world, UWA underground champion, longest reigning underground champion in history. He's also a 2-time PWF Uprising champion, as I mentioned. Battleground champion. We want Uprising, which we obviously can so tongue twisted from him coming in and out that he's obviously reminding me, because again, he once was involved in that company. And also, as I stated, one half of the Infinity Tag Team Champions. And you might want to say, before I introduce our guest tonight, finally, it'll be Infinity and Beyond, to quote the Toy Story movies, to finally have our guest. And I'll remind him also that I did wish him happy birthday a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully he holds that not against me, and certainly hopes he gets the introduction that so many of his peers and colleagues have gotten. Because after all, he's kind of like the Switzerland of backyard and underground wrestling. He loves Dalton. Maybe he might be Hex, and maybe I'll ask him about Jay Wild, who, oh, by the way, was actually here Tuesday night. Jay Wild made a cameo on Sportswire Radio, but didn't speak, but he was here. I'll certainly ask our guest even about that. And I might even have something for our guest tonight as a token of appreciation. Because after all, this has been probably about 9 months in the making. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to finally introduce our guest here. Because after all, we are in prime time on the brightest lights, on the biggest stage, where figuratively and literally all wrestling matters. And it wouldn't be all wrestling matters without our guest here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it and give our guest that introduction that we've all been waiting for and your round of applause that I know you're about to give. So, with without further ado, here on the Sportzwire, number one, Sports Show. He's one half of the Infinity Tag Team Champions. 8 times he held the BYCW Heavyweight Championship, the longest reigning UWA Underground Champion in history. And he was 2 times the PWF Battleground Champion. His name is simply put, Dalton School, otherwise known as Hex. The champ is there. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. That was amazing. Every time I hear it, it just gets better and better. Every time I hear that come out your mouth, the introduction, everything you do, bro, I love it. I've been watching it, and man, how am I supposed to top Austin G here tonight? Like, what am I gonna
No, I
have to
think
do?
actually you're gonna believe it or not. I actually think you'll top Austin G. I'm actually gonna tell you why, because you know what? I'm gonna shoot on this. I'm gonna drop the first Hiroshima. I have a feeling there's gonna be a few Hiroshimas tonight. It was a great honor to have Austin G. No question about it. Having him here is a special moment, and seeing him flesh in the wound is a big deal for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But Austin G, and again, I'm going to take nothing away from him. He's not in our community daily. Austin G's great, but Austin G doesn't have the pulse of the backyard and the underground wrestling community. And clearly, because he just lost his championship at Extreme Rumble 10 earlier today. But the point is that we'll always welcome Austin G. He can be back anytime he wants.
Yeah.
But there's going to be some, and again, there's going to be some champions in different promotions that are going to look at him and say, and there's going to be some other people that are going to obviously give him his flowers. And I think we did a great job in giving him the ability to speak and being able to kind of talk about everything he's done. But it's going to be kind of a but. You tonight, my friend, as I stated, everybody loves Dalton. I mean, who doesn't love Dalton Skull? So I guarantee you, even though we might say a few things tonight, I think by and large, everybody's so happy to see you, because really the facts are this is like 9 months in the making. You and I have known each other for ages, and it just never worked out for different reasons. So I'll guarantee you, I know Austin G's been here. I know Ledger's been here. Jack Delta with new hair's been here. James Taylor's always here. Anthony Steele's here every day. You see Omen Black, it's his show after all. Jake Matthews is here. You see D'Angelo the Flame, another guy you got a chance to share a locker room not too long ago. There's some red hot people. Austin G, we talked about. Aaron Blaze, the man that I'm wearing a shirt of. No question, there's been some really big people. Atomic Titan's been here. He's always here. He's my hardcore kid. I bow down to him. And even a guy you know very well, Jay Wild, was technically here. But I guarantee you that a lot of people are so happy to see you. So don't worry about it too much. I can promise you.
I mean, I'm happy to be here, and
It's good to
anybody
have
that
you home. I feel like in a way, I guess because we are kind of tied with the PWF, obviously, which I
yeah,
own a portion of still, but I do feel like you're home tonight. I feel like that again. I don't want to harp on this. I loved having Austin G here, but there's going to be some people that didn't get him. They just, I mean, if we're being real for a second, they didn't get him because he comes across like he doesn't come across in the community. And again, not a knock on
yeah,
Austin G, but he like guys here that are here every night, guys that are going out there and putting their blood, sweat, and tears out there. They're here on this platform and they're supporting. He's kind of like a guy. I'm gonna do the first Hiroshima. I know you really are waiting to speak. I promise. He kind of
I'm
is
a
like
patient man.
he's kind. Well, I can see that he's kind of like guys like almost a Mr. Judgment that comes on here. You know, Mr. Judgment, great talent, been here, but if you really think about it, community doesn't care much about him because he comes on, but he's like oblivious. And
Yeah,
I don't want to say that Austin G is oblivious, but Austin G is kind of oblivious to many of his peers and contemporaries. That was the perception, kind of like Mr. Judgment. Again, I love Mr. Judgment, but Mr. Judgment to many that are here and many other promotions, they kind of see him in the same way. So I have no doubt that you, my friend, will not have that same feeling. And a lot of people are already fired up to see you. But Dalton Skull, I mean, hopefully you can come back to us here. I just saw your lights go off. I hope the lights
yeah.
don't go off, period. But I'll try to
No,
keep them on for you. I hope you're
the,
okay. There you go. There you go. Dalton, we're waiting 9 months for you, and you're about to have technical difficulties here. Don't
I had to
cry
go in
on
the
us.
dark. I had to go in the dark for a minute. I'm sorry.
Well, I want to ask you though. Let's start off easy. Let's go
uh,
earlier this week. Speed Limit 5, Night 2 for that BYCW championship, a 9-year rivalry, friendship, whatever you want to call it, in the making between you and Rampage Rawson. And obviously, things didn't work out in your favor. And tell us, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, why it ended that way and where do we go from here?
well, I mean, thinking about it, 9 years in the making. I love Rampage, and as a person, outside of this, before that, we were like best friends. But that championship just it made him go crazy. But I guess championships all make us go a little crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Look at Austin G. He lost it. I mean, he had Alexis Vanderbilt. Eliminate him in this Extreme Rumble today. So that tells you he lost his mind. Maybe, you know what? Maybe the community contributed to him losing his mind and snapping, and that was their grenade. But yeah, championships can certainly make the man or break the man.
He's gonna be talking like this all the time now because he's going crazy, man. Like,
well, that's for sure. That's for sure.
No, for real on the Rampage part though, he got the better of me. He German suplexed me onto a hood of a car. I mean, he got me up for the F5. 1, 2, 3. I'm a man that will admit defeat, but I'm also the only man to make that dude have a 20-minute match and still make him keep going.
No question about that. You definitely did that. I mean, we're going to actually put the match on here. We're going to fast forward a little bit in the interest of time. But, we see the match here, and it was an intense match. There's no question, some of the things here that are done. And, we're going to see one of the spots right now. Talk to me about it.
Right here, I was setting it up, I was like, you know what, let's do a leg drop. And then I think right after I did this leg drop, I did a front flip into it. I'm not 100% sure if I did.
Well, we're going to watch it again. If you haven't got a chance, you can watch this on the BYCW YouTube page and give them a follow. Yeah. And there you have it.
There's the front flip. But, speaking of what we wrestle on right there, a lot of people are going to shit on me for wrestling on a trampoline and then go to wrestle onto a real ring. And, if anybody's got an opinion on that right now, I'm just going to be straight up honest. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to wrestle on what I want. And as long as
love it. I love that. Love that answer. Love it. That's genuine. See, I told you would be in the crowd and people would love that because you're genuine. Last night, I don't know how genuine last night was in many ways, but tonight, that's a genuine answer. I think people will respect you a lot for that.
And if they'll notice, that's not a regular trampoline either. Like, look, there's no way that big man should be on that trampoline. Not knocking, not knocking him.
Well, tomorrow we have legendary backyard wrestling's Napalm on, and I'm gonna probably say his trampoline's a lot more. I would say, nicer looking. But I give you credit for going. What do I know? I'm not a wrestler. I never judge in that way. I have nothing to say, so you know it better than me. You're the judge on all this and some.
Let me.
And Dalton, we're losing him. There you go, Dalton. Come back.
I'm sorry. Technical difficulties. My bad, guys.
Maybe Rampage Rawson's trying to mess with your Wi-Fi.
Probably. He's probably cut the cord, and I have to use my. But needless to say, on the segment of being on a trampoline and stuff like that, and how the area looks. Come on, think about it. If you watch old school backyard wrestling, did we have real rings back in the early 90s?
Mick Foley didn't have a ring. The Hardys didn't have a ring. Listen, my guest Tuesday, the Tribal Cheese Logan, he didn't have it. The Tribal Cheese, he talked about actually being a backyard wrestler in England. He didn't have a ring. So a lot of guys don't have rings. Listen, our buddy Aaron Blaze, his company YBW, he has mats. He has mats, not even a trampoline. He's got mats. Aaron is my guy. He's your guy too. I'm wearing his shirt. So not everybody has in that way.
I respect Aaron, but he's a little bit of a cocky guy.
He's got his opinions, but I understand where you're coming from. But hopefully your Wi-Fi stays with us. But go ahead.
Oh man, I'm so sorry about that. But needless to say, I worked with Aaron. I worked with a lot of the best, but this man, I'm in the ring with. He's the one I started BYCW with. And BYCW is more of an old school backyard wrestling feel. Like when they watch BYCW, I want people to think, like the older people that watch it, like, hey, I used to do this with my best friend in high school. Why didn't we record it? Like, if we want to break kayfabe here, that's my best friend in real life. That's my real best friend. Right?
I have a feeling he's in the comments, by the way, just to let you know.
And a lot of people, guess what? This man has a disability, and he's still in there doing that wrestling match. If you pay attention to one of his hands, he's only got 2 fingers on one of his hands, but he can out-wrestle a lot of motherfuckers I know. And I'm sorry for my language. I don't know if this
No. Listen, it's been 9 months in the making, so certainly fire away at this point. After all, I thought we would have been canceled after Thursday's show because literally we had Justin Parsley and another one of his circle of jerks going to our Hall of Fame, and it felt like I was Howard Stern with the Whack Pack. So at that point, anything goes. So go ahead.
But if you'll notice, you see that hand right there. That's a normal hand. Yep. But if you'll see his other hand, he has only 2 fingers on that hand. And this man, see right there, and this man has done so much with me, and he's just coming back from being a father and coming back to doing this. It means a lot to me, just knowing that I can spend time with my friend. And he drives 2 hours and 15 minutes to BYCW. This man drives from Mississippi to Tennessee to come and have fun and do this. And a lot of people forget about that. Backyard wrestling, underground wrestling, I get that there's supposed to be some type of seriousness in there and all that. Like, look, that's a serious ass chair shot I just hit in with.
I watched it already twice, so I could tell. Listen, it's not styrofoam chair shots.
But
there you go.
Yeah, the fun factor, you don't see that much in wrestling anymore. Like, how many people can you actually sit here on the podcast or talk on the Sportzwire radio and not just look at this to have fun?
Yeah, no, listen, I do think that in this sport, there always should be a love of the sport. And I think that I think everybody here does it that way. But I think that you bring a perspective that's unique because you've wrestled in a lot of different places that guys almost, it's like taboo for them to go to. So I think it shows that you love this sport in a special way. And he loves it too. And I think everybody, for the most part, there are certain exceptions. I did mention 2 names at the top of the show that I think they have their own things. But I think that when it comes to you and what you're doing and where you've wrestled, there's no denying, and especially you with your history. Listen, May 13th, we'll get into that. Last year, you're lucky that you're walking and being in where you are right now. So I mean, there's no question that you're going out here, and I think a lot of guys go out. I think there are guys that do it in different ways or different interpretations. That's why I say all wrestling matters, because at the end of the day, if you're going out there and making an effort, a concerned effort, not like some guys that wrestle, can't run the ring ropes,
Yeah.
and they're trying to be, certainly taken seriously. But I think by and large, most of the people that come on this platform that are here, I think do it for fun and they do it for a love. But I think you have a special, I think, kind of way about you, how you do it is because of what happened to you in that injury. So I'm sure you look at it kind of like every day is a great day and you just want to be out there to entertain the people. So I could appreciate that.
I'll clarify on the injury. A lot of people think it was my shoulder. It wasn't my shoulder. It was my collarbone. A lot of people think of shoulder. I get it. I understand that. But and how it broke, it was really bad. The doctors did not want me coming back. Like, if they probably see half the shit that I've been doing here lately, they would be like, I don't think you should still have that metal in your arm.
And how about this spot here we're about to see?
That was pretty fun.
That,
my wife,
yeah, I just showed you the spot where you went off the car there and you missed, but you went on the trampoline. How about that spot?
Well, doing that spot, that was really fun. I was like, man, you know what? I want to do a swanton, and big fat fuck over here moved out of the
way. Well, thank you for your honesty on how you felt about him in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, look, this shit hurt right here. He got his uppance. Like, we just started beating the shit out of me all over the yard. Like, one of my favorite moments is coming up. This right here, I love this moment, and I don't know why. I just feel like it was a good moment. Now, this moment coming up was a little hazy, but we were trying to figure out.
I can see it looks like it was hazy outside, by the way, so that kind of matches your thoughts here. Yep, I think I know where it's coming. Yep.
Yeah, like right here, when I come up onto the set right here, I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I just got up here, and I really have no clue what I'm going to do. So, you know what? Let's just do an axe handle, and it looks terrible. A terrible axe handle.
It's funny, when I watched the match, I was going to ask you that. I was like, did he improvise? And you basically just said, yeah, I had no idea what I was doing.
I was like, in that moment, I thought it was cool, and it wasn't cool. And then you see my family outside. And then
what is
this
it
right here.
Let me ask you, when you're doing these spots, as we're here with Dalton Skull, of course, a.k.a. Hex, he is one half of the Infinity Tag Team Champions. We're here watching BYCW Speed Limit 5 Night 2 main event for the BYCW Championship. He's up in the ring against Rampage Ross, and my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. In about 5 minutes or so, we're going to be joined on YouTube for the Promo Wrestling Federation. So if you're there, you want to watch us there in the simulcast, you can do that here shortly. But let me ask you, your family's watching this. When you're doing all these things outside, what are they thinking?
Well, at first they were not really cool with it, but after they figure out, okay, he's been doing this for all these years, he's not going to stop. He's had the doctors to tell him to stop, and he's not going to. So, I mean, they just got to the point where they support it. Like, I'm going to try to get. I'm going to try to get closer to my Wi-Fi router, all right?
Well, you do that. We're watching the match. And if you haven't yet, please go support our friends over at BYCW. You can check them out on YouTube. They're at BYCW 3.070. They're closing in on 500 subscribers. So go hit that sub button for them. Let's get them to 500. Also, Dalton is on Instagram, The Real Dalton Skull. He's on TikTok with BYCW. So let's support those that support us. Dalton has been one of our longtime friends. Like I've said, we've been wanting to get him on a long time. So we hope that he can connect with us and not have these issues. We could see maybe Rampage Rawson's trying to mess with the Wi-Fi. Who knows? Certainly Sammy Slade's trying to mess with it. I don't know, but certainly somebody out there is trying to. I don't know, maybe Joe Anderson, the Grim Reaper. Joe Anderson is your old nemesis. I mean, you've had so many wars. I don't know, maybe Chaotic is. You've had a war with him. I don't know. I mean, but then again, you guys are on the same page right now. I have no idea. But either way, we hope that you can connect and stay with us. Are you now closer to your Wi-Fi? I guess not. I mean, boy, I
Well,
tell you what, Dalton,
as soon as we said he was doing better, it went to shit.
well, Dalton, at least I think people are going to enjoy themselves more tonight in a way than Austin G. I think people are going to be, in a way, maybe enjoying the Wi-Fi issues more in a way than Austin G's kind of, I guess you might want to say in character, uptight type of performance on Sportswire Radio.
I feel really bad just letting you guys know for the Wi-Fi problem.
I love the listen, dude. I love the honest. I'll be honest with you. I'm enjoying more of this than really most of the show yesterday.
Man, I really appreciate being here. Like, you have no clue how much this actually truly, means to me being on the show. And
people, like, yeah.
And like, man, just knowing that I'm here on this, it means a lot. It really does.
And it's so good. And I tell you what, it's so good to have you here because I know you've been a friend. We've obviously, worked with each other with the PWF, the transition. We've talked. You've always been a good friend, and that's why I think it means a lot to have you here. People are enjoying it, and unfortunately, you're not enjoying what's about to happen here right now.
No, I am not. This really did suck right here. Like, I got F5, and if you paid attention right there, I face planted when I did the F5 because I botched the move when I landed down. That's my fault. I landed wrong, and I landed directly on my face.
Well, I mean, that's obviously what's about to come because you're unfortunately about to be down for the count, and I hope your Wi-Fi is not down for the count, but I can certainly see the pain there. You're certainly in a lot of pain, understandably so.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with my Wi-Fi, to be honest, man. I literally just paid the bill.
Maybe Rampage Rawson really is upset with you. I have no idea, but he won.
It's the Tennessee Wi-Fi. It might just be trash.
Well, I certainly am not going to say anything negative at this point about the state of Tennessee because we have so many friends on this platform from the state of Tennessee. If I were to take a poll of listeners in the United States, Tennessee is going to be right up there. Tennessee is going to be up there with Iowa and Massachusetts and certainly Wisconsin and certainly Ohio and obviously Alabama and Mississippi. So I am not going to go out there and be like every other New Yorker, every other Northerner and say different things about Tennessee. I'm just going to say I love the state of Tennessee and we love having you here, even though the outcome. But talk to me about what you're thinking right here when you see Rampage and Rampage obviously walks away with the gold. What are you going through here with that kind of expression?
Man, to be honest, I'm heartbroken. I went 9 years. The beginning of that 9-year career, I actually won a speed limit, the very first ever speed limit. I beat Rampage Rawson 1, 2, 3 right there. So I guess it's just my comeback from 9 years ago, him beating me. I mean, it's just probably, him getting his comeback, But I mean, the how much we've grown, how much better our wrestling skills and everything has came from then. I felt like in that moment, probably Rampage Rawson should have walked out world champion. Maybe there was a reason I should have stayed down on that mat. Like I probably should stay in the tag team division. As you can tell, UWA, I lost the match for the world championship, and I couldn't even get a job done at a battle royal.
Wait a minute. Time out. You mean after everything you've went through, after all the obstacles, it was literally just over a year ago, you had what happened to you in UWA. Yeah. I know we came up short against Sammy Slade and CJ. We'll talk about that in a little while. But I think at the end of the day, considering what you've went through, this is just another minor roadblock where at the end of the day, the only thing you know how to do, Dalton Scull, is be resilient and continue to just keep punching. And I'm sure at first don't succeed, keep trying. And like your Wi-Fi, at first don't succeed, just keep trying. And eventually you'll get the hang of it.
I've learned a pattern about the Wi-Fi. It'll go out for a second and then I'm coming right back once that second's over with.
You know what? I got to be honest again. This might be more entertaining than last night's show. I think some people are going to be like, Listen, I know you're right because you
I'm
even
gonna get
mentioned.
so much hate over it.
No, listen, I'll take the heat for it because me already basically saying this is more entertaining than last night's show. People are gonna be like, "Well, you had Austin G on." I'm like, "Yeah, but
I mean,
Dalton Scully's being real." Oh. Hi, how are you? Boy, you're really bringing in an interesting crowd today. Maybe this is like a version of Thursday's show with Howard Stern.
what's going on with the crowd? But Austin G, to be honest, he kind of gave me an inspiration to start backyard wrestling because
Tell me why. Tell me why.
you like I was a big fan of Wicked J, and I remember when he died, and that's
Horrible, horrible incident. I mean, just I don't even want to repeat it on the air. I don't even
and
want to.
that hit hard. All
For sure.
respect to ESW. All like I'm an old school fan. Like I remember watching Austin G as a kid back when they had all the trampolines put up in the back. You know, like
But you see the video on YouTube of him, it shows him through the years, and it's
yeah. And like I actually got to watch some of that. Like I remember when Old School Giddings was a world champion once they first got the ring and stuff actually started going in like 2015, I want to say 2014, something
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
And I remember when Shockwave became an actual thing. I remember season 1 of Shockwave. Like I used to be a really big fan. I kind of, I died off a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. And but
it's definitely a different product from its heyday. There's no question the product. I mean, I'll be honest. All right,
I'm old school, man. I like old school backyard
yeah, and I gotta
wrestling.
be honest. The product is a different. Again, it's a great product. They have an amazing following. Their following is massive. It's a different product than its heyday. It's still, again, it's them and TBW, but
Yeah.
you can decide who's bigger or has more fans. But it's still a great product. It's just different from what it was.
The thing I could say different about ESW and TBW, ESW, they take a whole lot more risks, like that they don't have to. Nothing against them. I love what they do. I love how they do it. But there's some things that you'll never see me do. I want to be straight up honest.
Well, especially you. I mean, especially you after what you've went through and such. I think that's fair.
I mean, Austin G getting hit with a weed whacker, man. That's a little rough for me. Like, I'll take a light tube. You want to hit me with a light tube, bust them over my back or something like that. Let's do that, But I don't know about taking a straight weed whacker to the rib cage.
Well, anything goes. And, obviously we watched some of the death match also yesterday with Osiris and the winner takes all. But, all right, let me get to some comments. A lot of people want to say hello to you, and we're officially now on the Promo Wrestling Federation YouTube channel. I want to start plugging you a bit. A man that never has a problem speaking his mind, my friend Anthony Steele, the real deal Anthony Steele, who I have no doubt will always be back on Sportswire. You may even see him, who knows when. And he's going to be in his own spot next Wednesday, but he'll probably be here a lot sooner than I can guarantee. He wants to say what's good, and what's good to Anthony Steele, I hope.
You want to know something funny about Anthony?
I would love to know it.
There's so many times that we got this close to being about to be doing the same show, and something always happens. So if I ever see Anthony Steele, man, that would be a really good match. I think the outcome of that match would be amazing, and nothing but respect to Steele. I love what he does. I've seen
Now, have you heard that Anthony is actually an employer? He's employed by somebody in the state of Tennessee again. Anthony is actually employed by this company, Resurrection. Heard anything about that? Anthony is actually employed in Tennessee again.
I actually watched that episode of him coming back, and then
the man you actually shared a locker room with last week in the state of Tennessee, Drake Golddragon, who's the longest running champion in any belt in the entire history of Resurrection Wrestling. He's their national champion. And yeah, you're actually in a little making Iron Fitness battle roll there with him. So what a small world that is, huh?
He definitely lives up to his nickname, the aura that comes off that man. Nothing but pure respect. I like the Resurrection boys. They are built.
I love Resurrection. I think Resurrection they're up there for me with TBW and IMF and the support that they have here. I can't say enough good things about Resi, TBW, IMF certainly. WCE has been with us for so long, and those particular companies and Resi and TBW. It's so NEW. I want to throw those guys in the last couple of months. NEW, they've been so great, so kind with us here. Jake Matthews, Power Surge, D Savage. If I don't mention D Savage, he will literally want to give me a Macho Man Randy Savage elbow drop. But the point is that he will actually. He shares the shows on Sportswire and tells me what he listens to and what he doesn't like. So thank you for that. But yeah, I mean, but Resi, I love everybody in Resi. I just want to say Resi, they're some of the best people. I got to say it.
Them boys training before.
Oh my God.
Bro,
I mean, they got to be patron saints because they got to be patron saints, right? Because Xavier Thorne's working for him again. And you shared a locker with it. Boy, the irony of that, you guys actually wrestled a few months ago. You were actual owners of the PWF, which obviously I own a portion of alongside the likes of Omen Black and Soldier GP. And you're in a locker room again with Xavier Thorne. Boy, this is why I think this is going to be a better episode than last night's one because everybody knows you and shared a locker room with you. Austin G, yeah, it's great. He's a legend. But everybody in this chat's going to be like, I know him. I shared a locker room with him. You're like the Switzerland of backyard underground wrestling.
Man, I really appreciate that. And funny story about Thorne, when he very first came to Tennessee ever to wrestle, I was his very first opponent. I was the very first person Thorne got to go against. And
lucky you.
And he actually did really good. There were some spots that were a little rough, but I mean, he was getting back used to the ring. I can't really say anything bad on Thorne's ring skills at all.
Yeah, I think Thorne, listen, he's been around a long time like you. I don't think anybody takes away from Thorne's ability in the ring. I mean, he's been around a while. You can't knock his experience. I mean, he's one of the more experienced yarders around. You can't deny that.
He's one of the few people that's actually came to BYCW as is now. And
yes.
I have respect for Thorne, and what he was going through was probably what he's doing now will be more important than what he did in the past.
How about what he did how about what he did at Anniversary 7?
Exactly. I mean, everything he did in the past doesn't mean what's going to happen in the future. And if you're watching this, Thorne, I want you to know you keep the right head you got going on right now, you'll get somewhere, bro.
Well, I think if you want, I actually have the match of you and Mr. Thorne because it actually happened a couple of months ago. I just have to find the link for whatever reason, but I promise you I'll find it and we'll put it up here. So we'll maybe not. Maybe I won't put the link up. The way you just gave the reaction, maybe I won't. But I'll hold off on that, but I'll give some comments here. Omen Black, it is his show after all, and he says, hello, welcome to my show. So,
I love Omen.
Me too. It's his show.
I love Omen. He's scary as fuck, but I love Omen.
You haven't shared a locker room with him yet, huh?
Not yet.
That's interesting. You shared a locker room with everybody. You haven't shared a locker room with him.
I've actually had a phone call with him once.
So how was that like? Don't say it. Well, actually, we're live on Sportswire. I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
I mean, it was a very respectful conversation. Me and him talked, and Omen is a very nice person if you're on his good side. I don't know what it's like to be on his bad side, so I don't want to be the guy that looks over in the corner and sees a man that's smiling with blood going down his face. I don't want to be that guy that has to look at him and be like, "Oh, I gotta go punch him now." No, that's not. I'm like, maybe Mac 10. I see him on here. I could probably see Mac 10 versus Almond.
Well, Mac, the running joke is Mac's been here so much with Anthony that basically Mac collects rent on Sportswire. So I thought you'd appreciate that. Mac has come here so many times at this point. We just say, Mac, the rent is due. So, yeah, but I'm sure Omen will appreciate that. And I want to say hello to somebody. Skull is my greatest rival in the ring, but behind the scenes, he's helped me grow a lot in the business. What does that mean to you when you hear that?
See, that man right there, Jackson Blade, when I broke my collarbone, he told me he liked wrestling and stuff. So I offered him to come out to BYCW. And he's one of the few that I could say that I trained and left on good terms. He is Amazing performer. At first, he was very rocky and trying to learn, like how to do all this. But I respect Jackson Blade, and I heard that he's supposed to be doing some stuff up in North Carolina with another company called TPW, Trailer Park Wrestling. They're supposed to be coming up somewhere. I mean, they have a YouTube channel somewhere out there, I'm pretty sure. But he's supposed to be going there. But man, nothing but love for him. Like really, Jackson Blade's been really good guy. And he left on good terms.
Oh, we love that. And I think he mentions that in a few comments. So thank you for that. Speaking of one of my buddies, Mr. Jake Matthews, he is the NEW underground champion there. He is the best on the card. That really is him. And they have a great show coming up here, which I think will air either next or the following week. The Riot in the Ring. And a man that you shared a locker room with in Tennessee actually wrestled on that show. And he says, hello, gentlemen. He meant to say, gentlemen, give him a pass. What up, long time? Oh, this is somebody that's a part of the Promo Wrestling Federation. So I want to say hello to this. I was actually speaking to Mr. Vampire. I was speaking to him actually on Instagram because I'm the owner now of the Promo Wrestling Federation, which was owned by a man you worked with quite a bit in TBW. I can say that on here. TBW and TWF and James Taylor, my friend, and I'm pretty sure your friend, James Taylor, who's back here Tuesday. Another guy that he's here so many times that it's almost like James probably really owns Sportswire and it's the other way around and I don't own anything. But we say hello to King, and King is also doing something for ASPCA. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna leave that at that, but I will say that big shout out to King Vampire. He actually is doing a fundraiser for the ASPCA for animals on his downtime. He actually helps rescue animals, so we really appreciate that. We love our animals out there. And speaking of somebody you just shared a locker room with in Tennessee. That was Mr. D'Angelo the Flame, who seems to be like the new Jack Delta. And I'm more excited to speak with D'Angelo the Flame probably than Austin G or Mr. Judgment probably coming up on Sportswire Radio. So anything you want to say about D'Angelo the Flame, who you probably just got to meet last week?
I actually met D'Angelo a while back. I want to say back in March. If you watched season 8 premiere, I went against what's his? I'm trying to remember. Andrew Clay is his ring name. I was about to call him by his real name. I didn't want to call him by his real name.
Don't do that. But yes, I know exactly who you'd be referring to. And yes, you did see him. Yes.
That's the very first time that I actually got to meet D'Angelo, and that dude's tall as fuck.
Yes, he's very tall. Very tall.
Very nice guy. I saw that. What was it called? Missouri? What was it? Where's that place at?
Well, he was in NEW Underground Wrestling in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
He's been in Alabama, AW back there. He's wrestling Victor Thorne coming up. He's obviously with Resurrection. And also TBW, he's been there, through the whole TBW Resi relationship. And actually, it was also broke that I'll have a poster for this in a little while. He's going to be wrestling at this little thing called Summer Bash in the state of Ohio from July 5th to July 7th. And in the All Wrestling Matters first round for that championship, which I'm actually a sponsor of, he's wrestling Soldier GP, the IMF champion, versus the Resurrection Internet champion. That's a dream match. D'Angelo Flame and Soldier GP. I mean, you would never get that anywhere else. I mean, that's a dream match.
I wonder if these people need somebody to ride with them when they go to these shows. Hey, D'Angelo.
Well, are you available from July 5th to July 7th? Would you like to go to the state of Ohio? Because I hear from a birdie that there are people from, your state that are going down there. I mean, I'm sure that we're live on Sportswire Radio. 114 people are right now watching this, and we're actually live on 114.
Holy Oh.
I told you more people want to tune into you than Austin G. I told you you'd be more popular. The community, they love you.
I'm so sorry about the bad Wi-Fi.
Don't worry about it. We're enjoying ourselves. We're having a great time. But I'm sure maybe if you had some openings, any of those days, I'm sure that there are some different people out there that friends of yours that might be friends of mine might have a room in the car for you to maybe ride with them, and maybe you could show up.
If I ain't got overtime that day, I will.
Well, I'll certainly, I'm sure, let the proper authorities know this because I'm actually one of the authorities. So I'm sure that.
I forgot I did that in that match. I'm so sorry for cutting you off. That was actually pretty clean.
It was certainly a good. How did you like wrestling with a tie on? By the way,
Wrestling
uh,
with the tie on, I still got that outfit. I only wear it when it's colder.
yeah, because this was shot earlier in the year, where you could tell from the sun, you could tell from what we saw against Rampage to where we are with Thorn. It's a different weather.
Yeah.
Let me say hello to CJ, the man that you got pinned by a couple weeks ago at Final Destination 3. He's here next Sunday. How you doing, CJ? Nice to see you as always. And a
Love
man
you,
that I
CJ.
bow down to. I bow down to him as my hardcore king. I know, obviously, you're obviously preoccupied with Jay Wild and the rest of the prophecy, but Mr. Titan says, hello, hello, Dalton, Hex, and Rev. And
What's
does
up,
the hardcore soldier want to step up to the hardcore king?
If I have an opportunity to actually have a match with Atomic Titan in TBW, that would be amazing because I'm pretty sure this time I would win. Because, I
You
mean, come
would?
on, look how I am over at TBW. Like I drink that voodoo juice when I'm around Jay Wild. So what
Yeah,
makes
but Titan's got Thorn.
Oh, man, how many matches has Thorn won against me? Zero. Thorn has not won one single match against me. If you guys will, go back to every single one of his win-loss records against me, I won every single match. He's
Yeah,
eliminated me
well, to
from.
be fair, Thorn's career win-loss record is, it's, I would say, not very good respectfully, even though I'm a Thorn supporter, by the way. But, his
Oh,
win-loss career-wise, it wouldn't be confused with, let's say, Goldberg, for example.
oh no, Goldberg. All right, we all could say as much. Goldberg is a great spectacle in short matches, but if you put that
Could
man
not
in,
wrestle anything other than the 2-minute squashes. I think the William Regal match or Steven Regal at the time was an example. Although I think the DDP match at Halloween Havoc was probably his one. He's got one good match, I would say, the Halloween Havoc 98. I remember that as a kid. But the point is that Thorne's win-loss record is kind of the opposite of Goldberg's.
yeah,
That's,
and the finish of this match was just because we hated Thorne. Like literally,
well, I'm sure Thorne will be back on Sportswire, and I have no doubt he's probably tuned in because he always tunes in to the shows. We'll see about that. And hello, Zilla. Thank you for tuning in, Zilla. Want to say hello to our Sportswire Radio resident DJ. And how cool was this? Andrew Lovelace was actually hanging out with Brutus the Barber Beefcake earlier
oh
this morning.
really?
He was in the state of Ohio for Mega Slam Wrestling, which is a very big independent promotion. And he shows up there and he starts basically telling Brutus the Barber Beefcake that he's going to go play a 2 or 3 hour DJ set for him. And Brutus the Barber Beefcake starts breaking out and breakdancing. I'm only kidding. He didn't do that, but he took a photo. We took a photo with him. But,
That would be pretty cool though.
I think I would have loved the footage, but we didn't get that footage. But we say hello to Mr. Andrew Lovelace, who is the be-all, end-all, who's going to be there, by the way. I hear at some different places coming up. You'll have to stay tuned for. Skull, we've had some crazy matches and can't wait to see what's to come for you. I completely agree, and hopefully better Wi-Fi.
Hopefully better Wi-Fi.
Somebody else respects the Hardcore King, which I completely agree, and we'll see. My buddy, Mr. Aaron Blaze, is here. And you want to say something to Mr. Blaze or something you have in your mind?
Well, if you guys paid attention to the last Wednesday night showdown, he beat my cousin Okami.
Yes, he's the hardcore champion now. Yep.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, I hope. No, man. Hats off to you. I guess you're a young kid. You got a lot going on. I just know my cousin's gonna come back for that belt, and usually when somebody comes after you, you kind of run away a little bit. I didn't see you at tapings today. Where are you at?
So are you saying that he's held the championship belt hostage in the state of Pennsylvania, where he is from? Is that what you're telling me?
I think he ain't crash and burn, which is our next big event on BYCW, ladies and gentlemen, coming out this month.
And we're going to plug that shortly, actually, on the YouTube channel. But just real quick on Mr. Blaze. So, Mr. Blaze, are you saying that he fears a return match?
I feel like he's like, if you notice his record in BYCW, they're not very long. I mean, he was 24/7 champion for what, maybe less than 30 seconds, and then he was BYCW champion for like 6 days. But for somehow people still remember him being BYCW champion in that short period of time. That's crazy how his name has got so much star power that people can remember a 6-day long reign more than they can remember a 90-day long reign from another superstar on BYCW.
Well,
Which
because I think Aaron Blaze is somebody like, again, an Anthony Steele, like a Jack Delta. D'Angelo LaFlame has become in that vein.
yeah,
Omen and Soldier were doing that for a while. Sean Jovi, stay tuned on that. But he's one of those guys, and especially Aaron Blaze, that people have seen him. You know, they saw him in a company in Indiana that will mostly name nameless. He has been in different places. He's got his own Fed that has a lot of followers. And I think that's what it is that people, they know his name. He connects. He's a household name. You can say what you want, him only being 19, but
yeah.
for a 19-year-old, he's accomplished a lot.
I mean, the only people that I know that really don't like him is what'd you say? Was it? Am I even allowed to say the company's name or no?
You can say anything you want. We're live on
okay.
Sportzwire. I don't work. You want to say XCW? Yeah, I can say
Yeah,
supposedly
all right.
explosive championship wrestling. But if a tree fell in a forest, would you know it fell? I mean, you say timber, but
I would say yeah, him and XCW did not work out.
But everybody else,
I mean,
I know your Wi-Fi's having issues. I don't know, maybe they're trying to hijack it, but everybody else in XCW doesn't seem to work out either. Division Nick was there once upon a time. Anthony Steele was there once upon a time. Omen Black and Soldier GP were there once upon a time. Dark Kron, Jack Delta was there. JX was there. Jacob Collins was there. I mean, Dirty Donnie. I mean, Jordan Nets. I mean, we can keep going. Jason Myers. I mean, we can keep going. I mean, there's a long list of people that have stepped foot there, and it doesn't seem to work. So maybe the theme is not those wrestlers, because obviously they're supposed to be there as household names. Yeah. Obviously, like, again, Omen P, Jack Delta, JX, Aaron Blaze as examples. Division Nick, certainly throw him in. But they all seem to not work, not because of their followings, but maybe because of who's at the top and who's maybe right behind in the top.
I mean, yeah, creative mindsets sometimes are different from each booker. Like, for example, I like to feel like what my people, I want to know what they want to do. Like, if I'm going to book a show, I want to put somebody where they're comfortable.
I agree with you completely. I am very much the same way. If you look at this platform, we like to give everybody a fair stake. And I agree with you completely. But some people don't do that. They want to, show and quote unquote use their, power in a position and, to devalue people. And they don't want to count what those people have done. But, if they look in the rear view mirror or look in the mirror, maybe front and back, maybe it's not so good in the mirror. And maybe they should kind of take a look at why you brought those people in, and that's maybe speaks volumes on the product. And like I said, if a tree fell in a forest, would you know it fell? And I mean, we talk about Resi. Resi had Jimmy controversy. Resi's got Mac 10 and Kato and IMF. Look what they've done. They're in a company that goes out and actually pays their talent and shows. You look at places like NEW had D'Angelo LaFlame. You look at places like, obviously, even your company. You look at any other company out there, but that company seems like it's just almost like AEW right now. I mean, are we going to be having a Vice documentary on the death of XCW? And are we going to get like former outside talents to talk about why they thought XCW was going to basically die and why it's just got very little followers or very little shows that are, tuned in live? And, what's the reasons? I mean, look at the owner of the company. He wins a tag team championship, puts himself as the champion, then creates a new belt. I mean,
what?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he wins a title last week and then gives himself a new belt. That tells you all you need to know, right?
Yeah. Especially from that point of view.
People can say all they want about TBW, but I don't see TBW guys ever holding the world title. You can certainly. I don't see.
You got to work for
TBW. Listen, we had Beast on here. We had obviously your brother in Beast. I mean, we have people from different places. Jake Matthews hadn't won the title in ages in his company. Look at all the people that have come there. We had Gabe Sayers from the TF crew, who just wrestled in, GTS, the main event against Grim. Look at his promotion. Look at all the talent he has there. Look at, again, so many other places that come here, and the ones that are successful. Look at Resi. Look at Resi's champion, Dustin Alexander.
I like that boy. I've seen a lot of good things from him.
I think he's got a victory over Jimmy Controversy.
Yeah, that is true.
Jimmy Controversy. But the point is, see the recurring theme? The companies that are successful. Look at IMF, right? You got Soldier GP, but who's building a roster? Soldier didn't hold the world title the entire time. He's been building talents. He's been bringing people in. Look at DKW, right? Their promotions in Ohio and their champions in Iowa, Omen Black. I mean, that tells you that they're another one that's playing ball. They're helping build a thing called Summer Bash, which is to grow the community, genuinely grow the community. Take the politics out, which is killing not only this community, but anywhere. I mean, most people, and the words of the movie Bad Boys Ride or Die, people hate politicians. But yet, yes, I saw it. But the point is that what we're trying to create here with Summer Bash is to get away from that. I think the consistent theme is that the companies where people want to be a part of or are successful don't have maybe the proprietor or the chief operator on top or create themselves. Look at ROEW, for example. James Taylor's the owner. Jack Delta's the champion. Isn't that the biggest form of basically killing politics or basically taking a wedge out of anything? Because Jack Delta and James Taylor wrestled each other. You know it. You were in a locker room with both of those guys. You know the deal between those two guys. I don't think those two guys are going to certainly sing Kumbaya and, have chestnuts roasting on an open fire and maybe share a couple of brews sometimes, maybe share a couple of stone cold drinks. They're not going to do that. But yet James Taylor, the owner of his company, he's got Jack Delta as his champion. What does that tell you right there? ROEW is another company that
they know what's best for business.
Yeah, and listen, you can certainly say ROEW is another place where everybody's walked into because they know that there's no politics being played. And James Taylor, and if anybody knows it, James Taylor calls everything right down the line, and he's got Jack Delta as his champion. That tells you, like, everything that's what you need to know is that the companies that are successful are the companies that know that you got to put people in spots to be comfortable. Before I come back to you in more comments, a lot of people, like I said, people are fired up tonight more than they were last night because people can be themselves tonight. Everybody was like, last night was like going to school. It's the first day of school and you want to be on your best behavior. Today is like, okay, everybody can go back to what they know best, back to being comfortable. So the facts is that, like with us here on Sportswire, right? I have a portion of the PWF, the Pride Wrestling Federation, where you were a 2-time Battleground champion. But what I'm doing is letting them basically who know what they're doing to kind of do what's best. We've got the Promo Wrestling Federation. We've opened it up. We're going to reimagine it to give people opportunities to be involved. That's what any successful business will do. You know it firsthand with BYCW. And I think any company that comes on here and is honest about it, that's what you see and why those are successful. But that one promotion doesn't seem to be successful because of those reasons I mentioned as the opposite.
Yeah, I see your point of view completely on that. I mean, it's just...
I'm not a wrestler. I know nothing about wrestling. I know absolutely zero about wrestling. I know very little about it. I don't know what a hold is. I don't know what a finish is. I don't know how wrestlers win a match. I know absolutely zero about wrestling. I am a total dummy. But you watch wrestling. What I do know about is being successful in the real world. And I think anytime you're successful, it's because you're put in an environment where you want to succeed and those around you feel like they can succeed. So the difference is of one company that succeeds versus another is those reasons. Again, I know absolutely nothing about wrestling. I know very little about it. I couldn't be in the ring. I couldn't be able to stand there and say anything. So, that's just how I see it.
I can definitely say you know enough to know what's good and what's bad.
Oh, I think I know what's best for business is that there is more comments to get to, and let's get to them.
Let's get to them.
Bro started on the ground too. Absolutely agree with you. Now, I want to say hello to somebody that is our ambassador of this great sport. He is our Dave Meltzer. He's Mr. Copper Dragon himself.
Oh,
Trampoline is a prime ordeal aspect of our practice. Anyone giving you about that is not a true yarder. I definitely need to review and score some of your work, and I'm going to tell you why he's going to do that. Because I subscribe to his Patreon page. He is Copper Dragon. He is the legendary Copper Dragon. He is a part of the GWC. In many ways, he was an early mentor of Xavier Thorne, the now psychopath Xavier Thorne. And Copper Dragon has rated a who's who of people you've wrestled and been in a ring with. So he knows the
actually,
Yep.
He's rated one of my matches before. I don't know
Yes.
if you remember.
I do remember that. Yes, I do, actually. So thank you for letting us know. And I'm sure Mr. Dragon might want to rate that match he saw with you in Rampage Rawson, I hope.
Definitely check it out.
Evening, gentlemen. My good friend, Mr.
DK Dub.
Yes, DK Dub. Want to say hello to our champion in the UWA who's here next Sunday night. Dalton, I hope you recovered well after FD3. I'm sorry it had to come to that.
Man, my neck's still messing with me a little bit, but I guess I'm covering is. I mean, there's so much actual real wounds could be covered, but emotional wounds, CJ, they're still there, bro. We still got a lot to talk about.
A lot of mafia business to attend to, huh? And Sammy Slade walking out, and Sammy Slade, and who looks like Buddy Murphy, and I think everybody's still talking about what I said there on that, but Sammy Slade, and I mean, it's disappointing. I know on your birthday, you wanted to win that championship on your birthday. And I tried to give you a nice birthday. I wished you a happy birthday, but unfortunately, well, you're very welcome. But I know that you wanted a birthday gift like the best one you could have ever got, but you didn't get it, sadly. And who knows at what cost? At what cost will at the end of the telecast? At what cost?
I might just be one of them guys that are better chasing the belt than actually getting the belt.
We talked a lot about that last night on the show. And, well, hello from Mr. J. Cal, speaking of UWA. And I hope Jake is
tasty
doing well.
ball.
I hope he's doing well. I spoke with Jake a couple days ago, and I just want to say I hope you are doing well, my friend, and thank you and everything you do for us. I think he said the same thing. And, yeah, Wi-Fi has been not too good lately. He would know that Mr. Titan, he is our hardcore king. He liked the match. And North Carolina, I want to say hello to my guest 2 weeks from tomorrow, Mr. Hardcore himself. He'll be here 6 o'clock Eastern time. I agree with Copper on his stance with trampoline and ground wrestling. I do think that a lot of guys start out on trampoline or the ground. And listen, James Taylor spoke about it when he was here. And, listen, we have AWL and ADT started on the mat. I mean, ROEW didn't have a ring to start. So,
I actually watched more AWL when they were on the mat than they got the ring, to be honest. I haven't actually got to see some of their product here lately, but I watched almost every episode when they had the mat.
Well, D'Angelo the Flame's going to be back there, so I can assure you that coming up for their next big show, more people will tune in. But I have a good question before I get to a lot more comments, and is, what's the future hold for Dalton Skull?
The future for Dalton Skull?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be honest, I want to start traveling again, start going to different places. Like, I mean, early 2023, you were going to see Dalton Skull everywhere. That was my goal. I wanted to travel up north. I wanted to be part of the names like Aaron Blaze and Jack Delta. And
you've shared a ring with.
And a lot of people don't know that I drove 7 hours to Indiana, and I was actually in the ring with Jack Delta. And that match was not the best because there was a third party there, but I felt like if it was just me and Jack, it would have been an amazing match. I feel like me and Jack was robbed of that, and partially that's my to have a one-on-one match with Jack Delta one day.
Well, I think that there's a lot of people that would like a match with Jack Delta, but I think you maybe have a legitimate case because of the circumstances. And, I think your experience, obviously you've shared a locker room with him in multiple promotions. And if you want to travel, I mean, there are certainly promotions out there. Now, I know James Taylor, obviously. I'm pretty sure you know James Taylor. Now, James Taylor is the owner of ROEW, which is in the great state of Michigan. And that's where Jack Delta is basically reigning supreme. He's the chief now. He's the top guy there. And, maybe that's where you'll have to get that match is by going to the state of Michigan and asking James Taylor, a man that you shared a locker room with for quite a while down there in Tennessee last year. And, maybe you'll have to ask James Taylor, the nemesis, and, see if he would want to be a tyrant king, like in that decision of wanting to grant you that match against Jack Delta that you were robbed of.
I'll make one better. James, let's get in that Mustang of yours and drive all the way to Michigan, and let's shut CJ.
Is CJ Black playing with your Wi-Fi after what you just said?
I guarantee it. He's probably going to make something about my collarbone, too. He's like, I want to snap it again or some shit. Oh, no, don't take another.
He was saying things about Alexis Vanderbilt yesterday, who was obviously the part of the pattern in ESW Shockwave. And I was like, well, I'll certainly move on from that. But, James is here Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on all Sportswire radio platforms, and including the Promo Wrestling Federation YouTube page in mid-progress. But I'll ask James about maybe this potential match you were robbed of. And I'm sure James will hopefully look at his former colleague in the Tennessee Backyard Wrestling and the Pride Wrestling Federation locker room to see if that's maybe something he could come up with, because I'll definitely be talking with James Tuesday night.
Well, if he wants to lock up too, we can do that as well as good old friendly competition. We should definitely see that match. James Taylor versus Dalton Skull. I mean, he only lives 45 minutes away from me. It's not like he can't drive here.
So what are you saying? Do you think that now wait a minute. Let me get this straight, actually. And by the way, if you want to book Dalton Skull, this is his Instagram, by the way. This is actually his Instagram page. So I'm actually going to do you a favor tonight. Even though your Wi-Fi is giving us a little bit of a headache.
I am so sorry.
That's okay. I got you. I want people to follow you on Instagram. So if they want to DM you, follow you, get in touch with you, they can do that. Now, you correct me if I'm wrong. Just mention that you live 45 minutes away from James Taylor. Is that correct?
Correct. He lives in Florence, right? I want to say Florence.
Oh, I don't want to reveal somebody's exact place, but you're in the ballpark. Now, you obviously have BYCW, and from what I recall and understand, I mean, you and James seem to have a pretty good relationship, right? I don't think James has ever had anything, really, really bad to say about you, right? You and James seem to be pretty friendly, right? We can say that.
Oh, man. If anything, James has taught me a lot. And I would definitely say he's one of my mentors. It might not have been like a long time of training with each other, but every time that I was in a ring with him, I literally stayed in the ring until we was told to get out of the ring. Like, every time I go to train and stuff, for the most part, if there's not like 10 people in that ring at one time, I'm always training. I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to learn how to do this.
He believes in that. James loves to teach. He certainly loves to teach, and he was doing a lot of helping, I know, in PWF and TBW. He was one of the locker room leaders. But from what you're telling me then, that would James have a spot in BYCW anytime? Would he have a spot that would be welcomed? And this is the first I'm hearing on Sportswire because, guys have kind of almost dismissed James and, there's the distance. We've heard about the issues in the past with Omen Black and Soldier GP. We know, obviously, the history out there and the other company in Tennessee that you've done some work for and TBW and, but it seems to me like you genuinely would have a spot anytime for James Taylor in BYCW. Is that correct?
I have a spot for anybody at any time in BYCW. Anyone that's in the surrounding area.
And James lives 45 minutes from that, huh?
Yeah. Like
45 minutes. So
well, probably not from the location where we film, but from where I live at, I know he lives 45 minutes.
But still relatively, I mean, I'm sure tack on maybe another hour at most. It's not a 4-hour drive, right? 5-hour drive. I mean,
it ain't nothing like that.
And James could make his home in BYCW, and we could certainly have maybe Nemesis sessions live, from the BYCW arena, and James can certainly grow with the likes of Rampage Rawson and so many others that are in BYCW, like your cousin and Zilla and everybody else, and. It sounds to me like that's pretty genuine. Do you think I should ask the Nemesis James Taylor about this Tuesday? Even though I know he's an owner and he's got CJ Black to deal with, and he's got Jack Delta, or he's got Big Man Cam, and he's got Jacob Collins to deal with. It sounds to me like you're actually live on the air offering James Taylor maybe a spot maybe in the BYCW roster and locker room.
There's always a door open for James.
Interesting. Well, I will certainly be sure that this is going to rile up some comments, and I'm going to surely ask Mr. Taylor about this. And coming up here, hello to our friends in Western New York, C2K. Nice to see you once again. D'Angelo LaFlame says, yes, sir. And want to say hello to, obviously, AWL. And my buddy, Hillbilly Tilly, who was dancing with me Wednesday night with our DJ, Mr. Andrew Lovelace. And he says, howdy. And also, Dark Crown would like to say, any interest in coming to Summer Bash in Ohio next month? It's the biggest wrestling party of the summer. And I have a poster for that. So don't touch that dial. We're going to put that up on the screen here in about 10 minutes. And boy, it looks like somebody, and it's, I guess maybe I'm saying hello to myself. I guess I'm saying hi. For the first time ever, I'm actually saying hi. It's kind of really like Vince McMahon when he bought WCW on March 26, 2001. But I got a good question for James Taylor. Actually, before I come to business, he says, how did that stunner feel I gave you over a year ago?
How that loss feel come from Jay Wild over a year ago?
We haven't seen him in a ring since, some would say. What do you say to that?
I would have to say definitely would love to run it. I mean, I don't have to be Dalton. I can run it as Hex. And James Taylor versus Hex, I think that bring in more money than Dalton Skull.
So you think that, maybe this is an entree. Maybe I actually will get to some more comments and hang on tight because there are a lot more people that want to talk to you, so they don't want to talk to me anymore.
Jesus,
I told you this would be. I think I'm more comfortable tonight than I was yesterday. I think, like I said, yesterday was like first day of school. You're on your best behavior. Some people were into it. Others were, they were into it. But I think this is where we're more comfortable. What about this match? Dalton Skull and Anthony Steele. Now, would Anthony Steele have an open invite to BYCW anytime? I mean,
if anybody's willing to do what we do the old school way, Anthony, you can come get these hands as well as James can.
Oh, wow. So you're basically very comfortable in,
if they want to run that feud back again, too, we all booked that shit as well.
Oh, wow. That's very kind of you. Very, very kind of you to, be able to do those things. You seem to be very, very open, and I appreciate the openness. And speaking of more things I'm going to put up on the screen before I get to a big comment about a man you also mentioned, I actually want to put this up on the screen. Speaking of Summer Bash, if you want to follow, and I still haven't gotten a chance to give you something yet, Dalton Skull, so I'm going to have to hang on tight, but there is Summer Bash. There it is. It's the biggest event of the party of the summer. It's going to be there at 7480 Pleasant View Road, Southeast in Bremen, Ohio, in beautiful Bremen, Ohio. I believe it's actually near like a cattle farm, which is very interesting. You got a whole bunch of things there, a slew of talents. Like D'Angelo LaFlame, you shared a locker room with. He's going to be there. Omen Black and Soldier GP, Dark Cron, and Sean Jovi. I'll get to him. But before I do that, I'd like to go back to Mr. Jack Delta. You heard of him, right? Mr. Skull is such a respected, supportive soul. Much love and good evening, gentlemen. Yeah, I would actually, like I said, I compared you like to the Switzerland of like backyard underground. Everybody loves you. No, seriously, you and Sean Jovi. If I were to run like a popularity contest of like backyard and underground wrestlers, I think you and Sean Jovi, the resident rock star, would basically be like neck and neck. Maybe you guys, it's a presidential year, right? We're doing presidential elections. Maybe you and Sean Jovi could be like president and vice president of like the backyard and underground wrestling community because you both are all beloved universally. I mean, everybody loves Jovi. Everybody loves Dalton Skull. So maybe that I'm onto something there.
Maybe. Actually, can I tell a quick story about Jack Delta real quick?
You can say anything you want. We are live, and you have the floor, my friend.
I was late, really, really late to a taping it was January 2023, and I was really late, and I came in. Everybody's about to take the picture, everybody that was there, and then they was gonna leave, and so happily, Jack Delta didn't say nothing to me at first or anything. The first thing this man did, he came up to the ropes, he took out his hand, and he shook my hand. That's the very first thing and then he told me he was happy to meet me in person. And that, I remember that. I remember that like it was yesterday. And that means a lot. And I got a lot of respect for Jack Delta. But the same for Jack. I'll give you these hands as well. Anybody else will, Jack. So if you want to fight, let's fight.
I'll say, at least on the first half of that, I'll say this much. That's exactly why I own not one, but two Jack Delta shirts. And that's exactly why Jack Delta is on the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame and why he sits in my Mount Rushmore for all-time backyard and underground wrestlers. Just saying. And the other half of it, I think you've been pretty clear that, you know what? You've got BYCW open and anybody's welcome. And I think that you don't really care and give a flying frig about what anybody thinks. And I'm kind of liking that. Like I said, you said this morning, how do I top Austin G? And I said, don't you worry about it. I handled it. I got this one for you. I got this one. Everybody's comfortable tonight. It's always good to be comfortable. James Taylor says we do know what's best for business. And you got to know how to keep your talent happy. And in ROEW, I'm that guy. I'm that booker. I'm that kind of owner. I'm not going to book myself to be champion. And I'm glad that James Taylor, you know, he hasn't booked him. Listen, and that's, I think somebody heard that and said, you know, there's Tom, again, who doesn't know anything about wrestling, but actually knows what he's talking about. Let me get to some more comments. Darkron said the ground is where real yarders started 21 years ago. Correct.
Okay.
Correct. No question about that. Also, let me get to a couple of more things from Mr. Delta before I come back to some more friends of the platform.
All right.
People will always say this about trampoline wrestling, but I'll always hop on one. You can complain about how it looks while you're sore for 3 days afterwards. I'll wrestle anywhere. I'm an idiot. No, I don't think you're an idiot. No, I think what you've done is you've gone out there and helped the backyard and underground wrestling community open doors and break down doors, break down forbidden doors, because there are guys that are comfortable in staying in the same old situation, having the same old matches, and then talking about they're on top and they're the best and they've done everything. But in reality, they haven't wrestled anybody. I mean, let's be honest. Mr. Judgment hasn't wrestled Omen Black. Mr. Judgment hasn't wrestled Jack Delta in a neutral site environment. Let's be honest. Austin G would never wrestle Omen Black. He would only wrestle him in Texas. Let's be honest. I mean, Austin G wouldn't wrestle Soldier GP. Anthony Steele and Austin G wouldn't lock up. Let's be honest. Mr. Judgment wouldn't wrestle Anthony Steele. Let's be honest. Mr. Judgment wouldn't wrestle Dalton Skull. It would have to be on his terms, his environment. Let's be honest. Fletch wouldn't wrestle CJ Black if it wasn't on his terms. Ooh, that might be a Hiroshima. Let's be honest. I mean, there are plenty of guys that you could fill in the blanks about. Let's be honest. I mean, we have guys like Austin G, and they wouldn't have wrestled even a guy Ledger Shade. Say what you want about Ledger Shade, but Austin G wouldn't have wrestled him in a neutral site environment. So at the end of the day, guys like Jack Delta, sure, maybe they didn't have what we would have hoped for, but they went out there and attempted to break down doors. They didn't know it at the time, but that's why we're here right now. That's why all these people have flocked to Sportswire Radio. That's why we've built a community, because people want change. They want something different. They're tired of the same old stuff and the same old people that come on and act as if, yeah, they're great. No question that guys like Austin G and Mr. Judgment have done a lot for this sport. I take nothing away from their abilities. But the facts are is that we didn't get a chance to see the Foundation versus Ego. Ego doesn't want any part of the Foundation. Ego's not coming to Summer Bash. Mr. Judgment would never wrestle Omen Black. Wouldn't be in his environment. So let's be honest. Let's kick the ballistics. There are guys like Jack Delta. There are guys like Dalton Skull. There are guys like Anthony Steele. There are guys like Aaron Blaze. There are guys like D'Angelo the Flame. There are guys like Omen Black, Soldier GP. There are guys like Sean Jovi. There are guys like Jake Matthews who wants to travel and go back to more places. And then there's everybody else. So let's be honest. Jack Delta's not an idiot. It's the people that don't want to go out of their comfort zone and then tell everybody that they're the best, they're on top. Maybe
You want to know why a lot of people don't like?
You're on mute. Dalton Skull, you're on mute. I guess somebody really didn't like what I had to say, but Dalton Skull, you were on mute. Let's get to some more comments here. James Taylor says, my trampoline days were some of the most fun I had in the yard. Yeah, if he lived close, he'd be champ. Somebody didn't like what I had to say. Jovi versus Dalton Skulls for the people's champ. Yeah, I agree with that. I would love, well, I think we lost you here. There we go. Are you alive? Are you okay? Did I say something that shut off your Wi-Fi? Hello? Dalton Skull, hello? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You need to come back out and come back in. You need to come back in and come back out. I can't hear you. He's having technical difficulties here. Let me message him. We are live on Sportswire Radio. And if you want to go watch Summer Bash and get more information on it, you can. That's the link below. We're on sportswireradio.org. And I hope, Dalton, you can come back in and come back out. So, Dalton, if you hear this right now, try to sign out and come back in because you're not actually speaking. So you might want to try that. I don't hear you. Hello. Let me type this for you. Yeah, hopefully you get this message now. I think I said something that probably somebody didn't like, but you need to come back in and come back out. That would be okay, he's going to do that. And who is on your roster? I would like to know who is on the WNECW roster first before I do anything. Let me get to some more comments. We have here, I'm going to leave on that, and I can't do anything until we come back to him. But here's what I want to do. Actually, let me give a plug here for a second, because since you probably know by now, I actually own the Promo Wrestling Federation. If you haven't yet, you need to follow us on Instagram, because if you haven't yet followed us on Instagram, this is where you can catch us here. And it's obviously yours truly is the man behind it. James Taylor is staying involved still. So James is going to be here live with us Tuesday night to talk about that. We're also going to bring in some different things. So Promo Wrestling Federation, for the people that are still involved in that, we're going to wind up still staying around, and maybe we'll actually have a guest come on right now. And actually, no, we're going to hold on.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened there.
Okay, I'm glad to hear. Let's get to some more comments here. And as I put up the Promo Wrestling Federation page, but let me come back to some different things. I'm a little bit behind. We got robbed because Indiana is just cursed, plus that third party really did ruin that match. I'm not going to name that third party, but I've seen the match. We're going to say no comment.
He's a southern bitch.
Well, I was going to say basically go watch the match. Let's not give publicity to those that do not need it.
Exactly.
James Taylor would like to say, what is your honest opinion of me, Mr. Dalton?
My honest opinion of you, James, you're a very honest man. You know what you're doing. If the industry could be a little bit better, if some people would listen and actually go through some of your training. You taught me a lot, and I would love to share a ring, trampoline, ground, whatever you want to do, man. I would love to be face-to-face with you one day in a wrestling match.
So it sounds like James has an invite anytime for BYCW then.
Anytime he wants to face me, he's more than welcome. If I have to rent a ring for him to come to BYCW, I'll do it.
So let me ask you then this, because I find this fascinating. Maybe toward the end of the show, I might even let James have a few words on this. But have you ever asked James about coming to BYCW before? Because I've never heard this mentioned before. I mean, what do I know? I know nothing about wrestling, but it sounds to me like the first time hearing this. Have you ever actually offered James a spot in BYCW?
I have once before, but at the time he didn't feel like wanting to do much with wrestling, and he respectfully declined my offer, but he was very respectfully about it. And at the point, I don't think he wanted to do anything with wrestling in the time.
Okay, I respect that.
He might want to actually come out finally.
Okay. lots of legends from our industry here. Hello to Justin Parsley. Justin Parsley, of course, is our only three-time Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer. And the irony of that, he's from the state of Indiana. He's a three-time Hall of Famer. No, but obviously there are a lot of great people in XCW. Justin is one of them. I think most people's gripe is with, well, one particular man. But Justin is also the host or co-host of the Circle of Jerks podcast, which you'll actually be hearing more on Sportswire Radio. And Justin's going to be wrestling Soldier GP coming up at the IMF's Summer Heat show in 2 weeks from today. So hello there. CJ Black says, I don't know what it is about Dalton, but I really want to give him a lights out. So, Michigan was brought up, and CJ Black, he plays for ROEW. He plays on that team. And what do you think about that?
You want my honest opinion about the good guy, CJ Black?
We're live. I don't want Austin G in character. I don't want Mr. Judgment in character. I want Dalton Skull saying whatever he wants.
Well, I'm going to be honest. The person behind CJ Black might have a little bit of a heart, but CJ Black, fuck you.
Oh.
I'll give you a light tube across the back. You want to give me a light out? I'll give you a light tube. What's up?
Wow. Okay. I didn't expect that. I don't know. I mean, he's Mr. 7-star superstar, though. He's the guy that,
Papa Dragon thinks dick sucker. That's what he is. That's why he only gets what he wants. Oh, he's riding Mr. Jason Storm's dick, and then he was
Jason Storm's out of power. It's James Taylor. So maybe James Taylor, maybe he would like to make a match between you and CJ Black, because after all, he owns ROEW.
I'll drive all the way to Michigan.
Wow.
To beat his ass and see.
Tonight, so you want to go to Michigan? You're ready to go?
I will definitely go to Michigan just to face CJ Black and be like, you know what? Look, if he beat me, he beat me, but at least I can say I was man enough to drive to Tennessee like other people would say they would do and go face Mr. CJ Black myself. How many people can you say that actually say that, then do that? Now, I'm one of the few that will actually drive to Michigan and just fight you. Win or lose, at least I can say I drove my happy ass up there and put where my money where my mouth is and fought you one-on-one.
Wow. I'm sure Mr. Taylor, he's salivating to hear these things. I mean, he's loving hearing this. Boy, I would love to lock up with Mr. Skull sometime. I'm open to the idea of it for sure.
I would love to have a match.
I would love to see you and James Taylor lock up, because I think you and James Taylor would be a dream match. I think James being back in the ring, people want to see him in the ring. People love James Taylor. They love him here on this platform. We love everything he's done for the PWF, the Promo Wrestling Federation. And that's why, I just want to say thank you, James, for all you've done for that. Obviously, we've taken over it, but James is not leaving the PWF. He claims he wants to leave it, but he's not leaving it. He will never leave it. And no person on this platform that's ever done anything in the wrestling community will never leave. We will always give them a place. It will always have a spot. So James is going to almost be like our chairman emeritus of the PWF, and we are going to reimagine it. We're going to do a lot of great things with it. And James is going to be a part of it. Anybody, you're welcome to be a part of it. Anybody out there, you want to be a part of it, you want to be on YouTube, you want to play WWE 2K on it, meet some of the great streamers that are a part of it. I met one yesterday, whatever you want to call it, but there's a lot of them out there, and we want to mix of that. Plus, give you a Sportswire flavor. It's, obviously bring some of the things we do on the radio side and here live. So to me, this is about the community. This is not, me taking over and, chest thumping. This is giving our community another outlet so people can express themselves. And that's what I believe. And I believe that that's what the people want. They don't want the same old politics. They don't want the same old nepotism. They want change. I will give it to you. Jovi versus Dalton Skulls for the People's Championship. I think I would agree.
Hey, I might just drive to Wisconsin.
Wait a minute. Wisconsin? You said Wisconsin?
Yeah. Ain't that where that Jovi guy is at?
Yeah, he's the WC Interstate Champion. Yeah, that's where he plays. He's
got a belt too?
He's the Interstate Champion. Yeah, he beat this guy Craven Rage, who, a lot of people would kind of say is the Rage of Sportswire Radio Talk, but he beat him. He actually beat him so bad that he basically passed out, and if he would have kept going, probably would have had a worse injury than you would have had.
Oh God. I don't know. That sounds really nice. Hey, Mr. Jovi. Maybe Dalton Skull might come to your neck of woods one of these days. You might as well keep your eyes peeled.
Jovi hasn't faced someone like you before.
Yeah, well, definitely probably from the South. That's one thing. Us Southern boys have it different.
But what do you consider Wisconsin? Midwest? It's not South. It's not North.
It's north
Midwest.
to me. Anything that's
Really?
above Tennessee is north to me. I don't know the
Okay.
difference. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what Mid-South means. I don't know what Midwest means. I know up north. I know down south. And I know I'm from the South.
All right. That's a fair. I appreciate that. My trampoline wrestling days was some of the most fun I've had in the yard, and we've seen some of that on the platform. I think we answered this. I don't know who's on the WNCW roster. C2K needs to get better trained. Yeah, that's a big topic of discussion. James Taylor should go on the C2K talk show. James Taylor is I bow down to my hardcore king, but James is coming to Sportswire. He's coming here Tuesday night first. He can do whatever he wants. He's an American citizen, but he's coming home at 9:30 on Tuesday. He did get better trained. I'm going to say he's here soon on Sportswire. He'll deal with the crowd then. Yeah, I think Atomic Titan on the C2K show. I think Atomic Titan wasn't he on C2K show? I don't remember. He needs to go. C2K does need more reps. He definitely, listen, C2K is a good guy. I don't know if you've seen his work. He wrestled the guy Stephen Havoc, and it left to be desired. He's a 33-year veteran. He's been wrestling apparently since Undertaker started in WWE, and he's probably wrestled like 8 real matches, and then like I'm sure he's had other matches per se. I love the guy, but he's a 33-year veteran, 8-time Hall of Famer, Puerto Rican champion, but there's some in the community that feel he's not up to par. I don't know though.
I ain't gonna shit on C2K, but
he's a good guy. Honestly, he's a decent guy. He's got a good heart. C2K has got a good heart. I just don't know in terms of in his career at this point if he should be wrestling. I think that's, to me, you can say which I think he's got a good heart. I don't want to like put him in the category of guys like Fletch who are just bad guys and a lot of reasons. I think C2K has got a good heart. I think he's been through a lot in his life. He's, definitely very God-fearing. He's a God-fearing man, and he does love the sport of wrestling. I just don't know if wrestling at this point in this stage of his career is where he should go, and that's okay. Listen, you can be,
I want to agree, but at the same time, I'm going to kind of disagree on that because, what if that's the way he was taught? Maybe if he's around the right ones, like for example,
listen, I'll be honest. From what is out there publicly in the ring of him, it doesn't look like he's been really trained.
I ain't watching this shit.
I don't want to put it on the screen because you're here, and I still want to give you a couple of things.
All right.
Sean Jovi says, "Ahoy." Money to go on C2K for James Taylor. And gas prices are high. I twisted my ankle the other day. The dog's barking. I don't think I'll be able to make that.
Oh,
he seemed like he was barking up the tree of Alexis Vanderbilt yesterday. I don't know what happened there with that, but I'm going to say that's what I'm going to say.
All right. My dog's barking. Really? You're saying that to a guy that weighs like maybe 160 pounds soaking wet, if that, and you're gonna be afraid of someone like me, man. CJ, you gotta come up with some better, whatever. Let's see who's other people that are actually relevant. Let's see their actual comments.
Well, I got more comments because, like I said, people are really. I told you, 122 people are here. There's a lot of people on YouTube. People, they're happy to see you. I appreciate you, Tom, and to everyone that does support and believe in me. No, we'll always believe in you. You're a good man, and anybody knows me. Like I said in Austin Spot, I am very independent minded. I do not. I make the decision because that's what actually shoot is. That's actually I hold a position in New York as a notary commissioner of deeds. So I am right down the line anything I do. So I give everybody a fair shot. Everybody's welcome. We don't know why he's botching his name. We'll check it out. Appreciate you, WNTW. Now, CJ, you got great health benefits since I took over the company. I'll make sure you get fixed up before you face. So apparently James is going to help you out there. So maybe you'll get this match after all.
I appreciate that, Mr. Taylor.
But also, Sean Jovi would like to say he wants to correct you. and Wisconsin is Midwest technically, but he's also down for a challenge.
Well, I don't know the difference from Midwest and all that. I ain't gonna lie, they don't teach us that down here in the schools, man. I didn't know that stuff existed until like I actually started going around and traveling a little bit. But you know what, Sean Jovi? If you can probably talk, what company was that again? Refresh me.
So he's the WC Interstate Openweight champion. He's also wrestles in the IMF, which is in Iowa, but he is the WC Interstate Openweight champion. They have a show coming up, Vindication 3, which should be out any day now.
Well, Mr. Jovi, we should definitely lock up sometime.
Well, I'm friends with Mr. I think Mr. Jovi could admit this. I think Mr. Jovi and I, we've been friends for a while. I think he might be ashamed to say it, but we've been friends for about almost 2 years. So I would like to say I have probably a longer friendship with Mr. Jovi than most of the people here. But I'm sure that I could ask Mr. Jovi this on the air, maybe even off the air. I'm sure he would certainly take my messages. Maybe he wouldn't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to be friends with me anymore. But I could ask him if you like. I'll actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to have him here next week. He's going to be here live next Thursday night. I could bring it up then.
Well, see if he is man enough to face the one and truly only Dalton Skull.
And you've been in the ring with the likes of Jack Delta and, Ledger Shade, and you've shared locker rooms with James Taylor and D'Angelo the Flame, and Jay Wild's a friend of yours, and Atomic Titan you've obviously been in there with, and, guys like CJ and Jake Howell and Chase Sullivan in a Texas bull rope match, and Xavier Thorne, and you got a pretty big resume there. Rampage Rawson we just saw, and Zilla, and you've been in there with some, pretty heavy hitters. So I'm sure Mr. Jovi, he wouldn't dismiss you. Drake Golddragon, Joe Anderson. Can never forget about Joe Anderson, what you've done to him in the past. You've been in the ring with some really big names. names that people would say, yeah, I would like to see maybe Sean Jovi and Dalton Skull anytime lock up in a ring,
That'd be a definitely interesting match. I'd say so myself.
I would put some money on it. I like to talk about it on Sportswire Radio. Hello, I think C2K. We are here to see you. We say hello.
Hey, C2K.
Justin Parsley saved a cat on a tree, and he showed up. Come on, Stephen. So, yeah, actually, Justin Parsley did save a cat. He actually did save a cat before he came on the show Thursday. So I actually,
oh, really? That's cool.
But Mr. Jovi actually wants to say that if you want to travel to Wisconsin, he's 110% down. How do you react to that?
I got a trip going to Wisconsin in October.
Really? When in October?
Reason. I don't know the exact date.
My birthday is October 7th. I would love to see you go.
Oh, really? Yeah. That'd be awesome.
That'd be pretty sweet, actually.
Well, I know for a fact I'm going to be in Wisconsin in October, and if you know where New London's at, I'll be in that area.
Now, from a little birdie, they wrestle in a place called Appleton.
Oh, and that's only 40 minutes away from New London.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Only 40 minutes away, huh?
I've been inside the Appleton Mall. I've actually been. I've been at Appleton, 2022.
And apparently, you perked up Mr. Jovi's attention. You know why? New London isn't far from his headquarters. You would get a lot of people talking if you were in WC. A lot of people would go, wow, last year they had an export named Skulls. And I'm actually not going to go into him, but his trainer, quote unquote, is actually not doing well. So I want to give thoughts and prayers to him. I hope his wrestling trainer is doing well. And I want to give my thoughts and prayers on that. But you would be a big deal. A guy with your resume who's been in TBW, longest running underground champion in UWA history, 2-time PWF battleground champion, BYCW 8 times a world champion. You've pretty much been and shared with the locker rooms of the who's who of people. And that'd be a lot of people would talk about WCE again. Wow, Dalton Skulls and WCE and Dalton Skull. We had Skulls last year, but now we get a real Skull. We had a guy Skulls, and his wrestling ability was what it was, but it's almost like going from A to Z. It's like going from the bottom to the top almost, from you to him. Boy, I think we kind of finally get it right, huh? We had a Skulls last year, but we get a Skull.
Yeah, That's most definitely. I don't know who that dude is. Never heard of him, to be
You
honest.
don't want to see him in the ring. He's another good spirited fellow, but his ring ability, he I don't want I will share some things on Tuesday's show with James Taylor. I really want to help people. I really want to turn on some of them. I want to turn a leaf on, but his matches, I would just say,
Shit.
don't find something else to do.
Okay. All right. You're
Go
nice.
watch Bad Boys Ride or Die again, basically.
I like how you're very nice, Tom.
Well, I haven't always been very nice tonight, but I'm going to basically say for those individuals, that would be the case. I think it's a good time before I ask you a few other things. I want to
Okay.
present to you something tonight because I really want to do something special because it has been a long time in the making. A lot of people are tuned in right now. And I want to do this for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio on this date, June 8th, 2024. It is Dalton Skull Day. So whether it's on right now, YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579, Twitch at Sportswire Radio, X at Thomas Bryce 2017, Instagram at the Sports Report 2021, Instagram at PWF_network. Also, the Promo Wrestling Federation YouTube page, Facebook at Sportswire Radio, my personal page at Tom Bryce, LinkedIn, Tumblr at Sportswire Radio. We are acknowledging you and your day and wanted to say thank you.
I want to say thank you, man. That means a lot. You got to send me that so I can print it out.
I'll give you the physical copy. When we're off I give everybody the physical copy. So I promise you that I will give it to you. And you know what? Maybe if I could, only if it's okay, maybe the next time you come on to Sportswire Radio, maybe I could, induct you into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Because after all, if Fletch and Jackson Law are in the Hall of Fame, you have to be in the Hall of Fame, right?
Man, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. The words, I don't know, man. This it means a lot. It really does. There's at some points in my career that I thought I didn't mean shit. Everybody forgot who I was. When I came back, I thought everybody forgot who I was, and I want you to know that means a lot. It really does.
Well, you mean a lot to us, and not just because of the PWF, the transfer, but you mean a lot. I've gotten a chance to know you. And you have obviously a real riveting story. Last year, March 13th, 2023, everything you went through. You've been doing this a long time. And everybody loves you. I mean, TBW, listen, not everybody in TBW loves different people, but everybody loves you. You've come in and out of the company. You've worked in UWA. You've obviously been with your own company. But guys know you from other places. People love you. They just, everybody goes, yeah, I like him, like Sean Jovi. That's why I think you got to be in the Hall of Fame. I think you got to wrestle Sean Jovi.
Man, I really like. Man, it really does mean a lot. I appreciate that so much.
Well, I'll tell you what, we will bring you back next month, and I'm going to give you that moment. I'm going to give you what you deserve, and that, in the words of Hillbilly Tilly, true yarders do it for the love of this sport, for their blood, sweat, and tears. And I really appreciated what you said. You want to be a yarder. You're forever a yarder. And I think that a lot of people, that's why I think tonight a lot of people are resonated. You resonate with people. And again, I don't want to turn this into a circling, squad of firing shots at other people. But, some people come on. No, listen. Some people come on here and they're not really part of, I think, what we're trying to grow on Sportswire. I think you are like the example of that, like a Sean Jovi. And I think that's why you deserve to have that moment. And as a matter of fact, I don't care if we induct 100,000 people. I hope that Sportswire has 100,000 people. I hope that Sportswire stands the test of time. I think I will, because I've been doing this since 2019, and I don't think anybody that has done more for wrestling in terms of coverage, whether it's British independent wrestling, pro, backyard, underground independence. So I have no doubt about that. But I hope that every person within reasonable means gets in. And I think that we've been fair about that. And I want to give this to you. But, before I do something, and obviously Mr. Jovi has said officially we'll talk. And the guys in DKW, Darkron says congratulations. Obviously, Jackson Blade does that. Also, if you are on YouTube for the first time, please hit the sub button for Sportswire Radio 6579. We're actually closing in on some pretty big milestones, 750 subscribers. So, I've done a lot of that really in a year, even though I've been having YouTube for 10 years, but really haven't used it for only about a year. But how are you feeling since that date of May 13th, 2023?
before we get that, if you hit 1,000, don't forget that he
The
gets a
tattoo for NEW Underground Wrestling. Thank you
yeah,
very
yeah,
much. I appreciate that.
yeah.
I
But
think it's gonna still take me a while, but yeah, I am gonna get the tattoo. So I hope to
I
get it
feel
because you
like
have a
kind
bunch of them. You have a bunch of them, so hopefully I'll join you.
I have 30 tattoos and actually 29 tattoos in my sleeve.
Well, I appreciate that, but okay. So hopefully I get the tattoo, but I'm sure I will. I think we'll get to 1,000, and I have no doubt about that. I'm very confident in that. But talk
Uh,
to me. May 13th, 2023. How are you feeling since then?
I feel more comfortable, than what I did when I first came back. Uh, but to be honest with you, in that moment when that happened, I get a little emotional. But
Well, don't cry on me on Sportswire. I tell people all the time.
dude, it just when I looked up and I felt my collarbone, I
Mm.
didn't. It didn't feel right, man. Some told me it didn't feel right, and I was facing Robbie Andrews, which, if y'all don't know, he works for TBW.
Yes, yes, he's been a fat Asian, and now he's a different bunch of names. Yep, know
Yeah,
him well.
he I was facing him, and I got chokeslammed. My body rotated, and it I ended up snapping my collarbone. It's it's closer down to just like showing y'all the image of how this went. Like, this match was supposed to be a fast match. Everything was going good. As you can see, he did the heel movement and he's staying on me. I'm not gonna lie, I hate this angle to this camera. But me and Robbie was doing great. And like, I love this match. He was like, come out through. I did a bump right there. And I'm getting up. I can't remember what he had planned. It's that drop kick he does.
I see it.
I haven't watched this match in a very long time. This is one of the very few matches that people will probably barely see unless they actually look it up themselves. And we were just working the match here. Like, the original idea, man, was I was supposed to come in. I was supposed to lose to him. He's gonna become the new underground champion, and I was actually supposed to go wrestle for TBW after I got done filming everything that
Right,
was
because this
there.
was the time of the PWF TBW run.
Yeah, and it was when Jack Delta was at TBW. Like, I was
I
actually
remember, I remember I interviewed Jack Delta literally right before he came into TBW. The first time I interviewed him was in May, and I think it was literally like right before he came into TBW. So yeah, I remember it very well.
and that's we were supposed to, like, he was probably like 15 minutes down the road. If y'all don't know how close UWA and TBW really is, it's less than 20 minutes.
Yeah,
It
I'm well aware. I don't want to say what I know on this one.
and I mean, they don't have the best relationship.
It's well documented. Yeah, it's a well documented thing for
Uh,
sure.
I'm gonna say one thing real quick. Good night,
Sure, say
baby. I
whatever
love
you
you.
want. You're
I'll send
live
the
here.
text, and I'll make sure to take out the puppy. Okay, Chino, our little baby. But all right, let's get back to this. But in this match, man, like, I was supposed to pre-film a lot, and like, we were having fun. Like, we were actually having fun here. Me and Robbie had it planned. It was hot, so hot in there, and me, I gotta wear all blue jeans, all everything, no skin showing, and I just got them elbow pads. My girlfriend got me them elbow pads for my birthday, and she gave them to me early. I only got to use them once, and yeah, I love this match. Don't get me wrong; it's a very good match, but just the ending, it really sucks. And once you actually see it, it's gonna, like, the fans are gonna be like, the people that are actually watching it, they're gonna be like, holy shit. You don't see me do that often either. I won't be doing them drop kicks often no more.
Did you have any regrets in coming back to the ring? I know you talked about
Uh,
for months about coming back and such, but you have any regrets about coming back to the ring? Is this ever in the back of your mind still?
uh, the only thing I could think about before I get in the ring, I, I think about my girlfriend, my family and stuff sometimes before I do it. I'm like, I know they don't want me to do this. I know they support for what I do. But, at the same time, I'm destroying myself going in there. And, it's my life. I choose to do what I want to with my life, but they're also involved with my life. So doing that, I really think a lot about how they would think about me being in the ring and, how they would feel if one of these days I take a wrong bump and I'm not able to come out of that ring. Like sometimes I think, like, that's one thing I always think in the back of my head is like, I'm afraid, is this going to be my last time? But I still go out there, because I love it. And
And that's what it is. Everybody that goes out there, you just never know. A simple thing can happen, and we're about to
yeah, we're about to
unfortunately
see
see
it.
it.
And my body over rotated.
Oh my God, you could see it right there.
Yeah, and I put it in slow mo. I'm the one that edited, and you can watch how my body and it snapped on impact.
I don't mean to ask this question. I love UWA. I love all the guys there. We have CJ next week, so I'm going to ask this in a very objective way, though. Did you have any concerns about going back and working for that promotion?
To be honest, no, I didn't.
And why was that?
Uh, they were always, good to me, and they treated me. This is what I looked like before surgery. Like this is like right when they put me out, and I made sure that I got pictures and stuff taken of
This
it.
is why we have tried to tell certain people on this platform about, getting some formal, safety precautions and such and, different things to be careful out there because this unfortunately happened. And, we don't wish this on anybody. Things can happen out there. That's why, we
Anything can
do,
happen.
we don't
Anything can.
know. Draws, it's Owen Hart. I mean, we see these things all the time, Guys get hurt. Stone Cold Steve Austin years ago. And unfortunately, Randy Orton had his injury, was out for a long time. And, I don't mean to ask you. Obviously, you were at Final Destination 3. I'm going to bring somebody on here shortly that wants to congratulate you on this evening before we get to final thoughts. But
Okay.
you obviously were at TBW Anniversary 7
Yes.
last weekend, and you wrestled Final Destination 3 for the
Yes.
main event. You wrestled there for the championship. You wrestle CJ. You're there with Sammy Slade. But what's the future legitimately in both places? I mean, you just spoke about actually this kind of documented kind of relationship that UWA and TBW have. Well, it's none because they don't have any anymore. And I'm not going to go into the specifics, but I don't work in either company, but you actually showed up in both. You kind of are like the Rick Rude showing up in both these promotions, but where do you go from here in this?
I anything is possible. Things could always happen. Right now, backstage, things are a little rocky. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little. We're all men, right? We can all talk about it. We all know how to talk, and things can always be resolved. But I'm creatively frustrated in one area. I'm not gonna specifically, put them like out there like that. And in the other area, I might not be all the way up high to the top card like I am in one place. One place I'm in a battle royal, in another place I'm main eventing a show. Either way, it don't matter what spot I am. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to be in the main event. I want to be in the main event." None of that matters to me.
Where did you feel? Well, where do you feel more happier right now?
To be honest with you, right now I'm having a little bit more fun over at TBW because I've been like I love UWA, but
Me too. I love UWA, by the way. I all the guys there. I love UWA. I think that they're, some really superb talents. But I don't know about you, but I saw you back in TBW, and when you've been there, it seems like it's more of a big deal. I feel like it was more of a,
It,
certain more people, more eyes were glued to you back in TBW.
and I love UWA. I'm not trying to knock on any of them guys. I'm just speaking honestly from my
This
heart.
is not Indiana.
And,
This
I
is not
want, if
Indiana.
any of my UWA brothers are watching, I don't want you guys to think this is a knock or anything towards y'all, because I love all y'all with the bottom of my heart, and you guys understand. And if you guys don't understand why I'm frustrated, the ones that know should know. But things could be fixed, and I'm having a good time either way. Like I'm trying to be so like, like look at that. Like, come on, tell me that wasn't. But like me
No, it
and
was good to
Joe.
see you back. Listen, TBW getting a sponsor, and Anniversary 7 is the greatest backyard and underground wrestling show in history. The
Boom.
viewership. I mean, TBW's, listen, if we're gonna be real, I think TBW is gonna pass ESW. I'm gonna be dead honest, and I don't know if I'm gonna win friends. I don't look to win friends. I don't do anything but call it right down the line. In
I
my
feel that.
opinion, TBW is going to have more subscribers than ESW. I think ESW is great, but TBW's got better visuals. TBW's got better storylines. I think TBW is got things that right now is red hot. I think, in my opinion, again, I love ESW. They have laid the groundwork for a lot of guys to be in backyard wrestling. Love what they do. But TBW's got two things going for them. One, they're in the community. They're here. TBW's here. They're here. They hear the noise. They've attempted to work with people. They've at least opened the forbidden door. That's number one. Secondly, I feel with TBW, and again, I don't want to turn this into a not. This is not WWF first WCW, WWE, and AEW before I bring on somebody before final thoughts who certainly probably has lived through all of that. But I think right now TBW is like WWF, like 97 going into 98. You could feel it. You could feel the momentum. You could feel the footsteps. I look at ESW. I don't think that their production video wise is as good as TBW. I think TBW getting the ring, I think speaks volumes. I think the setup, I think Anniversary 7, I think it was special. I think that people right now are looking for something different and an alternative. And I think you can say what you want about TBW. We have people, listen, James and Ledger were here. So you can go and see people that obviously I call it right down the line. To me, I think TBW is the place to be, and they're the mothership in backyard and underground wrestling. And again, I love every company that comes on here, really. There are some like Resurrection and IMF, and you're out, unfortunately, but Resurrection and IMF, they're underground companies. They're really not true backyard promotions. TF
Yeah.
Crew, not a true backyard promotion. In the true sense of backyard wrestling, in my opinion, again, host of the Sports Report, owner of Sports. Whenever we see Zilla, of course, another BYCW cohort of yours. But I think at the end of the day, as the owner of the PWFs, co-owner of Pride Wrestling Federation, yes, it's Atomic Titans Old Promotion, Promo Wrestling Federation owner, the Reverend Tom Bryce. I think TBW is going to be the backyard company with the most YouTube subscribers in like 6 months. They're right behind them. So say what you want on that. I think TBW is a lot of excitement for. That's just my opinion. You can do what
That's
you
a
want.
scary
I
man.
love to see you in UWA. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
want you to do that too, but I just think TBW right now, if you're going to go somewhere, I could understand where you're coming from because there's more people that saw this than where you've been other places.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's definitely more of a view rate onto the channel over at TBW than there is at UWA. But I mean, I gotta give the boys.
Visuals are better. With all due respect, I think the visuals are far better here. I love UWA, but you can't. This is like they've got. This is phenomenal. TBW has come a long way from the days that Ledger debuted or when Titan and Josh was starting out. They've come a long way. You can't tell me that TBW has not come a long way. I think TBW, to me, they're going to have the most subscribers, and I'm not saying it because I'm a homer. I don't listen. I call it right down the line. I don't do anything. I don't do none of that stuff. I call it from what I see it. I watch this. I don't think there's anybody that watches more backyard wrestling than I do. I'll even go further and call my own shot. I watch
Oh,
more wrestling period
what's
than
this spot
anybody
right here?
else. Yeah, I see it right here.
I'm sorry to cut you off, man, but
You
that
can cut me
my
off
cousin
yourself.
my cousin showing off right there. That was pretty good.
And what's the future with you and him in the tag team titles?
Hey man, anybody can come. I mean, our future, I guarantee it, we're going to be tag team champions for a very, very long time.
All right. Well, you know what? I think as we're toward the end of the show, I think I want to bring on somebody very quickly. Zilla and Okami did great in that matchup. Zilla proved he's a monster. I mean, there's a reason why he's the BYCW hardcore champion, and there's a reason why your cousin is a big high flyer, and D'Angelo LaFlame says Big Zilla. He meant to say Zilla. He gets a pass on that. And I'd love to see you mix it up with Joe Anderson again, by the way.
Oh, bro, Joe Anderson, definitely love working with Joe. Joe is one of my favorite people to work with. And he is, I know this is looked down upon. I know a lot of people don't like this, but he is one of the men that I don't have to say nothing. Me and him can go in that ring and we can fight all day. All day.
Oh, I would love to see it all day. But maybe it's a good time before I drop a Hiroshima. And you think that Joe Anderson would be an interesting person to, I don't know, speak with sometime too on Sportswire Radio? What do you think about that? The Grim Reaper, Joe Anderson. What do you think on that? You think that Joe Anderson, could come on this platform sometime, you think?
I feel like it would be an interesting point of view to have Joe Anderson on here. He's not the best on the mic, but he's definitely he's definitely worth having on the show for sure.
I think, right, if Beast could come on here, I think if everybody else could come on here, I happen to think a lot of people would maybe want to see Joe Anderson, a former world champion in different places and what he's done. And who knows what the future brings, but also IMF tag champs here. Yep, DKW, obviously Darkron and Matthew Forsaken. Maybe they want a shot at those Infinity Tag Team Championships, and maybe we'll see that at Summer Bash. But as we're getting ready toward the end of the show, there is somebody that would like to say hello for a few minutes. I know you have to walk the dog soon, but before you get ready to walk that dog, this guy, you remember him?
Good, Dalton?
Oh, Anthony Steele.
Yes, sir.
Man, you got the whole setup. You got the bells in the back. You got a mic sitting there.
Because he's taking over. Once I get the cease and desist letter from Sportswire and Promo Wrestling Federation, Anthony is going to be taking over. That's really what it comes down to.
I'm digging the setup, bro.
Thank you.
How you doing, Anthony? What do you think of Dalton tonight? What do you think of some of the things Dalton has said, whether it's about you?
My Wi-Fi sucks.
Yeah, we're gonna before we move on to the end of the show. What do you think, Anthony? How you like Dalton on Sportswire? I think you like Dalton more than Austin G. I think.
Who?
Well, speaking of somebody else that has to pop in, also. Speaking of people.
Oh my fucking God!
Hey, you leave him alone. He's my chairman emeritus, James Taylor. James Taylor, my dear friend James. James, I got you. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, my friend.
Anthony's just scared of me. That's all it is. He's been scared of me his whole life.
I've never been scared of you, and I never will be.
I want to say hello to one of my new buddies. And by the way, Mac Ted is here. Boy, it seems like it's becoming a Donnybrook on Sportswire Radio.
Back up off my chair. Your big ass gonna break it.
Mag 10 in the background.
Yeah, they're actually buddies. They're buddy. They're doing a cop buddy drama.
Oh yeah.
But
you can take this.
How you doing, Dalton? You doing all right, Dalton?
Oh man, right now, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. My neck.
He's
really
having the time of his life right now. He's on Sportswire finally. He's talking to you again, and Anthony's back again, and
I think me and him have been fine this whole time. I mean, Dalton, I got respect for you, and I felt it like it bothered me and upset me when you got injured the way you did. That's why I reached out to you like I did, because it is what it is. I mean, we got to be careful in this business. This is a dangerous business, but the fact that you overcame it like I knew you would, and now you're back in the game again, and that just shows the passion that you have for it. A lot of these guys don't have passion. They just look at it as I'm just a star, or I want to be a star. But if you got the heart and the passion for it, you can go anywhere. You can do anything.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I don't care about winning. I don't care about losing. I just care about the story and about what we can do in between the ropes, wherever we're at. Like I said, I don't care if it's a trampoline. I don't care if it's a ring. I don't give a fuck if it's ground. We can go anywhere. Like I'm willing to do a lot of things that a lot of people don't anymore, and I wish I did that more.
You know what I'm willing to do? Buy you better Wi-Fi. That's all.
Hey man, I would totally be cool with that. Go.
Like, but no, like before I was really interrupted by Taylor Swift over here.
Well, we wanted him rather than Taylor because
so
she's taken.
I used to step over some bitches better than you to get to a fight. So shut up, boy.
He's got DJ Black. He's putting in his place.
Hey, Dalton. Hey, Dalton.
Yeah. All right.
Is it bad that you're going to have a better comeback than James Taylor?
Is it bad?
How long did it take for you to come back?
Dalton,
How long did it take for you to come back from that
He can't
call?
even respect you enough to look you in the eyes and just look at his monitor. He can't look at the camera.
I'd beat your ass, James. I've done it once. I can do it again. Now back to the person that's actually important tonight. It was just Dalton Skull.
It is. Dalton, by the way.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
One, I knew I chimed in earlier in the show. I was at work. I just came in, said, "Hey, what's good?" I wasn't able to catch it, but I caught the last couple minutes. I finally got to see what happened. I've heard stories, but I now got to see what transpired. I'm here to announce that there is a Resurrection Rumble coming up on June 29th.
Oh, really? That's 3 weeks from today.
Yeah,
So,
I've heard about it.
I mean, shit, maybe that's where we can see Dalton Skull and Anthony Steele go face to face for the first time. I mean, we may never know.
Wait a minute, though, but I thought Dalton Skull, he works for BYCW.
I work for BYCW, TBW, UWA. I mean, maybe RPW. If I got to go all the way up to Wisconsin, and what was it?
WCE. ROEW is James Taylor. James Taylor is the owner and chief operator.
There's so many companies. What about Michigan? What was it? Michigan.
Omega.
Michigan, Ohio. Yeah, Omega. What? Yeah, I can't get it right.
Michigan Wrestling.
Just whatever you do is don't go. Whatever
he works for a lot of W's. We'll just
whatever you do is don't go to CBW. Whatever you do is don't go to CBW and XCW. Just don't go there. Make sure you
or Triple W. Don't go there.
Yeah, don't go to.
There's an actual company called Triple W.
Long story.
Hey, look. After you walk your dog, get a hold of me. I'll tell you about it. But no, I thought it'd be cool to finally come on and meet you and talk to you.
It's an honor, man. I was actually supposed to meet you like 2 years ago, but you know, things don't actually work out all the time. It happens.
Shit happens. Time flies by when you're having fun, and I was having.
You got a little release too early for my benefit to even get a chance to go against you.
Hey, look, the way I put it, there's a lot of open air and opportunity, so anything can happen. I also heard BYCW's hiring, so.
Man, we're in the works of getting a ring, but I ain't gonna lie to you, it's very hard when you're the only person paying for everything.
Felt that. James's wife feels the same way.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know that James is a very busy man with business. He understands.
He gonna fuck you up, boy.
James is a busy man on TikTok with all those other schoolgirls.
He's I don't know about that. James is we have a great Tuesday, James. Don't worry. Tuesday is going to be a celebration. Tuesday is going to be a day that you're going to certainly be recognized, and I'm sure it's going to be a big win for the
piece
community.
of shit that you rightfully are, James.
I don't know about that,
I'm gonna knock your teeth so far down your fucking throat, you ain't gonna know if you take the shit.
Promise me.
James,
Promise me.
Taylor. I am so looking forward to Tuesday night. Anybody's welcome because the Promo Wrestling Federation is welcome to anybody. If you want to come and be a part of the company, you're welcome.
Hey, Dalton.
What?
The saddest part is the closest that James Taylor's going to get to a world title if he buys one off the shop.
Oh my God!
Well,
bro.
we have a title in the promo. We have we
look.
have a title in the PWF. We do have a champion. We have one.
Yeah, I got it like out in the car right now. To be honest with you,
No, we have World Wrestling Federation has the championship. We have that too.
But
I can
if
buy
y'all
that
want to
car
hear
too,
something
okay.
that'll break the internet, what about Skull versus Taylor versus Steel?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
That'd be kind of like a Kurt Angle versus Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania 22.
Yep, here go, come on, Ray. That's old Skull right here for you.
maybe we could have that match in BYCW.
Maybe.
Where are you located? Where's BYCW located?
I'm literally if you're in Memphis, I'm 2 hours and 30 minutes away from you, and James, I'm about an hour away from you.
Wow. I mean, this is a dream.
I already looked up everything. I already know how far you all are. I've already thought about all this.
I don't live in Memphis anymore, but
Well, do you live close to it?
yeah, I live like 10 minutes outside the border of Mississippi.
Oh, dude.
I didn't move far. I just said I moved. Like,
hey, you're still close.
I'm 2.5 hours away from James. So
How many hours?
2.5.
2.5. Yeah, and then you're definitely way closer than me. Than
And
you are.
he never comes and visits or nothing. He just says, "Fuck you,
That's
James."
good. Why would
Well,
I
James,
want
you know Tuesday night we're going to be visiting with you, and I am so excited about that. And talking about the PWF, and we're actually live right now on YouTube for the PWF channel. So obviously we're meeting some of the people, and also let me get to a few comments before we let Dalton obviously have some final thoughts. He does really have to walk the dog. I kid you not. Let him walk the dog soon. You can do everything exactly right and still get hurt. It's the cost of what we do, and this is why I try my best every day to honor Sportswire with our
That's
community.
the brightest thing I've ever heard from you, Nicholas.
Yeah, I don't even know
he's
what
got
this
Ox
guy
McCoy
is.
in the ring.
That's true.
He's got Ox McCoy coming up in a ring, and he'll have different thoughts on that. We'll see. Cameron Cage, one of my favorites. Happy to see you back wrestling, brother.
Finally, something I can agree with you, Cam.
I actually shared a ring with him at one point.
Yeah, I think it was in was it BCW?
PWF. Walter.
Oh
Wade.
yes, correct.
He was
That's
in the
right.
Battle Royal.
That's right. Correct. Yes. Because actually, Cameron has not been in TBW technically, but he's
I've
been
actually probably a name that people don't talk about that much either. I've wrestled Neff also.
yes,
I've
I
wrestled
knew. I knew that.
Hey, you want
PWF, right?
to know
PWF?
something, Dalton?
What's up?
I trained Nev.
Well, I actually he taught me how to lock up. Neff actually showed me how to do a collar and elbow lockup properly.
The boat, Neff, the boat,
Hey.
the former.
Hey,
the
look,
boat.
he said he was the boat, but I told him I was the goat, and I proved that. So
Well, we did see. Yes, that was in PWF, if I'm not mistaken.
no,
I mean, it's probably not the best match, but for two people not even being able to talk before the match, only getting to practice a little bit, and it
there was a
being
guy
like,
Skulls that wrestled Craven Rage, and I can assure you that was a worse match. So don't feel too bad.
man, it was cold.
Wait, who wrestled Craven Rage?
Skulls.
He should just
You
make.
didn't know that? That was like
No,
old news.
what the fuck?
Skulls wrestled Craven Rage for the WC World All-Out title.
What?
That
Skulls wrestled Craven Rage for the
Send me
All-Out
the link after this, because I gotta watch that.
I'm sure Nicholas Crenton's gonna have like a different opinion on this, but no, he really did wrestle him. It's fact. Skulls and Craven Rage wrestled.
Skull versus Skulls just to get the right over.
No, you shouldn't be wrestling him. I'm sure my phone's gonna blow up now. You did it again, huh? And
Dalton, you are levels above that other.
And Jake Matthews, Jake Matthews, we don't want him to wrestle Skulls. We do not want him to. You don't want to wrestle this guy. I seriously,
I got something for Jake Matthews. Do you remember HWF? Whatever happened to that? Ask him about Jake Matthews. You remember that backyard company? It had Joseph Gemini, Jamie Tyler's, all the old school backyard. Whatever happened to that channel? I can't find that channel nowhere. That's a real question.
Okay. It was bad, and one of the reasons a lot of us don't consider the All Out. Yeah, but it's the top title. It was the championship. It was the world title. You can't say
was this?
It was like 10 months ago, about 9-10 months ago. It was for their world title. I mean, you can't say it wasn't. It was for their world title. I love Nicholas Crenton, but it's for their world title. No, he's gonna say no, but yes, it's the world title. It's the world title. I mean, it's for their world title. Jovi's their top guy, but no, it's the world title. I'm not gonna have a 24-minute dialogue about this. Craven Rage was their top guy, but let's move on because you're not gonna win that argument. The 4 HWF boys joined us. The HWF channel changed to Joseph Gemini's personal channel, and he unlisted all of the HWF videos.
Oh, bro, what? No, that sucks. I used to watch that. I used to be a big fan.
And I'm gonna look. I want to let you find out this, but one thing on this, you can say what was or wasn't the main event, but Craven Rage was here every time as the guy. He was here as the world champion. In fact, James Taylor and Anthony Steele have been on those streams, so we can continue to have the conversation. But Skulls wrestled Craven Rage, and there's no other way, no other justification about that. So we can have that conversation, but there's no justification.
I'd rather not.
No, but I'm
sounds like a horrible
I just do want to like fact check him real quick on this, only because like, and again, I'm saying it respectfully, but he can say what he wants, or he can go and have a difference of opinion. But Craven Rage has been here almost every time for 2 years, marketing himself as the main event top champion. He was their all-out champion. The Interstate was not the all-out title. So if I'm not wrong.
I'd rather watch a turtle run.
Well, let's get into final thoughts, because it's at the end of the day, the only way you can justify it is if you were there and nobody wants to relive that match. I don't want to relive it, and I don't want to have any further conversations about it. But let me get to closing thoughts. Before I get to Dalton last, I want to get it quick because Dalton really does have to walk the dog. James, do you want to tell us anything else before we move on? James Taylor, the nemesis. Yeah.
I didn't hear you.
I fuck with that tattoo.
Huh?
I fuck with your tattoo.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So I got to work with Dalton a little bit, Anthony, and I showed him, but I believe it. I showed him how to take some bumps a little bit better to help him out the day that I got to meet him. Real respectable guy. I'm not going to sit here and try and blow a bunch of smoke up your ass, but I'm going to be honest with you. You're like a sponge, and that I respect. And anybody that really wants to learn anything will take any info they could get like a sponge. I don't get a lot of credit for it, but at the same time, I'm self-taught. I haven't been trained by anybody. I'm not going to go say, hey, Killer Kowalski trained me. I'm not going to go say Triple H trained me. For real, I'm self-taught. I still got a lot to learn. I'm always learning, but I'm always watching. You ever heard the term student of the game? I literally am. I always watch my matches. I watch other people's matches. I watch all kinds of matches, and that's how I got my info, to be as safe as I can be. And anybody I've ever been in the ring with, always took care of them, never hurt anybody, and I take a lot of pride in that. And if you could do that, you're going to be great. So that being said, I could tell that you are a sponge when it comes to info. And I think if I got like a whole day with you to show you, I think you could have done a whole lot. And never say never, you know. I wouldn't mind locking up with you. I feel that we only got a brief moment in the ring together. When you came in, you jumped me from behind, did the twist of fate counter into a stunner. It was beautifully done, perfectly executed. You sold it like a champ. It was great, and it was fun. But I think we could have there could be a story there that we could do one day. You don't know. So, but I like you. You're a good guy, and keep doing what you're doing. Just have fun with it. Be passionate about it. Don't ever let it leave your heart. And when you were down, you were one of those that you could say, I'm down at my lowest point. You broke your collarbone or whatever it was, and you thought you was never going to get to do it again. I saw it from my own eyes. And now here you are, and you look like you're enjoying it even more. That's where you're going to get the pride to yourself. You know, you're going to just like, I love this business. And if you keep that in your heart forever, you're going to be just fine.
I love Dalton Skulls. Dalton Skulls, this is why he's
that.
going to be a Hall of Fame. I love Dalton Skulls. Everybody loves Dalton Skull. Dalton Skull, this is the Skull we should have had last year against Craven Rage. And we love Nicholas Crenson also. And at the end of the day, let's forget about Skulls and Craven Rage. I never want to talk about that match again. I only want to talk about Nicholas Crenson, Sean Jovi, and hopefully Dalton Skull and WC. I think let's have friends, close friends, agree on the fact that we never want to talk about Skulls versus Craven Rage again. And we only want to talk about Dalton Skull wrestling maybe James Taylor or Sean Jovi. I think we all can agree on that.
And I wanted to say one more small little thing in character, and then I'm done.
Okay.
Just a thought, Mr. Skulls or Hex. I know Hex is in there somewhere.
Yes.
The nemesis James Taylor wants you to understand one very important thing, and that is, despite all the political bullshit that's inside TBW, there's a lot of guys in TBW I like and respect. A lot of the politics, not so much. But beside all that, if there's one man that walks this earth that is the true kryptonite to your profit, you know it's me. Because I beat him once at Vendetta when I beat your ass, and then he beat me at anniversary of last year. We're neck and neck, 1-1. If anybody's got his number, you know it's this guy right here.
Totally
there it is.
Hey, I mean, all I can say is we could drop dead weight and gain an extra pound and make it a little better.
I really need to gain some weight, so hopefully that would be some hope for me. But thank you, Mr. Taylor, and I might even see you tomorrow because we're supposed to have this guy Joe Bidelau on at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. So supposed to have him on, and you're here Tuesday, so I think 2 of these 3 players will probably be here. So stay tuned, I suppose.
Yeah,
Anthony, yeah, go ahead. You gonna say?
Oh no, you go ahead, man.
Yeah, Joe Bidelau. Long story on that. Anthony, before Mr. Dalton gets to final thoughts, you have any closing thoughts before I'm sure we see you tomorrow? It kind of basically revealed it.
Hey, that's gonna be a fun night tomorrow. Dalton, if you want to chime in tomorrow, please be my guest.
I think today was a fun one. I think today was very fun.
Well, once you start hearing what we're starting to say, then you'll be able to understand why I say chime the fuck in. But no, like my whole thing is that what you've done. That's what I call a comeback story. That is the comeback story of a fucking lifetime.
Yep.
You broke your collarbone. We're supposed to be out. You pulled a Cena. I won't call it. You pulled a Cena. You're supposed to be out a lot longer than what you were, and you came back like nothing ever fucking happened. Like you've been in the ring the whole time.
I'm gonna be honest. The doctor actually didn't want me to come back. There's still metal in my collarbone, and I was supposed to wait a year. Like around May last month, I was supposed to have another surgery to get it took out. But I'm choosing to keep the metal in so I can wrestle.
Dude, you're just proving that you're kind of like a John Cena. You're starting to feel better, and you're just like Superman. You ain't gonna let nothing. You're not gonna let anything stop you from getting in that ring, and that's what you call passion. So
Period.
to me, I'm sure Anthony feels the same, and I know Tom does. That's respect, brother. That's
100%. Listen, I
Right.
mean, Dalton, I think people have such a revered and quote unquote affinity for him, even though he is one half of the tag team champions. But I think that's why there's such an affinity for Dalton, and that's why everybody loves him.
Man, I appreciate that from all y'all for real. It means a lot, especially coming back from that. It really does, and it's just it means a whole lot. It really does. Like I can't tell you how much from the bottom of my heart. Y'all telling me that it means a lot. If y'all probably met me like 2 years ago, y'all probably wouldn't even think nothing of me. I'm just another guy.
I don't know about that. I disagree with that.
Hey, look, I said the same thing about me 4 years ago, man.
I don't agree with any of that. I think that everybody has.
I know how I can answer that in a very respectful and peaceful way. When I met you, and around the same time, probably a week or 2 prior to that, I met Xavier Thorne at the same time. I like Thorne, good kid, got a lot of heart, but when I showed him something and I showed you something, you took it like a sponge, where he took like 3 minutes of it. And whether the guy wants to admit it or not, Mr. Turtleneck, he was there as a witness. He took a body slam and rolled out of the ring and said, "I'm done." He couldn't take it. But that was at that point.
Different
But
Thorne now.
you
Thorne's
took what
back.
I showed you like a sponge. So
Love
I
Thorne.
got more respect.
Hey,
for you.
I've been making Thorne take bumps like it's
Thorne
nothing,
is
bro.
back.
Right.
Thorne is
Literally.
it's a new Thorne. It's a new day, and we need change. And Thorne is back. I'm telling you.
But it's not about Thorne. It's about Dalton today.
Right.
So
Thorne's been here a lot, too many times.
But I'll say this: like, this is a true story, and it actually had nothing to do with wrestling on what caused it. I wound up breaking my hand like bad.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
I remember that.
That right here, this bone was like right over here, and it
Yeah, I
almost
remember when
stuck
you
the
called
fuck
me
out
on
of my
that.
hand.
I remember when he called me on that one.
Literally, I
remember
called
that too.
I called James and I called my girl and I was like, I don't think this is supposed to be here. And literally, because it was sitting on like outside of my hand. And the doctor looked at me. He's like, I got good news and I got better news. And I was like, okay. And he said the good news is you won't have to have surgery, but your career will be about 2 to 3 more years and you'll be done. Or you can have surgery and prolong your career 20, 30, 40 years. So the one thing I always say is if you have the option to do surgery, even though a lot of people don't want to take the time off, take the surgery. It's actually going to help you in the long run because if you don't take the surgery when it's needed, there's going to be a lot of complications that will go on either like 1 to 2 months from then or 2 to 3 years from then.
The doctors, they told me I'm not that it's not going to be the same. Like
Right.
I had to go through a lot of therapy. A lot of people don't like. My arm wants to stop right here, but I forced my arm to go up here. That's just saying, you know, like my arm literally wants to stop right here. It does not want to go any higher than this. I force it up.
But I will say this: when I do meet you, first of all, we gonna get in that ring. We gonna scrap. As us Northerners say, we gonna scrap.
That's a Southern thing too.
James was saying that because he looks cold. How much he runs with.
It was funny. I have to say.
And I want to have a drink with you.
I
want to have a drink with Dalton.
If I'm not driving, I'll have a drink with you.
That's so nice.
You know what? If we got to do it a couple of hours before the show, I'll drink a beer or something with you.
I don't drink beer. I drink liquor.
I'll take a shot with you then. What you like, Crown Royal?
Tequila.
Oh God!
I'll take a beer with you.
I don't know if Dalton Skull and tequila mixes very well. Let's drink.
As long as it doesn't make your clothes fall off, we'll be all right.
Let's hope the clothes don't fall off and
like,
obviously, yeah.
James don't drink because he drinks fucking dumbass fucking APAs. So
what? You don't drink beer no more?
No, James is a legend. He doesn't need to drink. He can drink whatever he wants.
I've drank beer here on Sportswire before. I mean, of course I do.
And the Austin, he drinks his Austin beer because he is a damn legend. He's chairman emeritus of the PWF. That's who he is. But
hey, I gotta say this just for the shits and giggles. He's a mark. That's why.
We don't know what that term is. I only know people named
I don't
Mark
know what that term is either. Tom.
I only know people named Mark.
Okay, so you're a mark. For those that don't know, a mark is someone that wants to be and act and have everything surrounded a certain individual. Therefore, James Taylor is a mark for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No, that's Austin G. That's Austin G, man. That's Austin G. He was yesterday's guest.
I guess I'm a Jeff Hardy mark.
Hey,
no,
look.
The
reason why I can talk shit, dude, I'm a Cena mark. Motherfucker, this is why this is my favorite.
I was looking at that belt in the back. That good.
I'm one of the biggest Cena marks of all time. He is the reason why I do professional wrestling. And I'm an LA Knight mark. I'm a fucking LA Knight mark like a motherfucker.
Oh, bro, LA Knight's the shit.
Like, motherfucker went on WWE Shop to get his whole fucking outfit. Don't play with me.
Let's do that, Anthony. Do it. Go, yeah, and I'll say, what?
No, obviously, Anthony, we're looking forward to tomorrow's show. And I agree with Nicholas Crenson. Body slam is one of the most basic moves to take. But, Dalton, I know you obviously have to get going. I want to give you the floor. Let me give you some clothes. I know you got to walk that dog. So here's the floor. I can't wait to have you on next month to put you in the Hall of Fame. And
thank you.
Fire away, my friend.
Well, as closing thoughts, especially with you three gentlemen here, Tom, I appreciate you allowing me to come on the show. Looks like my Wi-Fi is doing better finally.
You're welcome anytime. No, it's more like you're always welcome here on this platform.
And James, man, and still the two that really hate each other, you know, actually being a little bit calm in the same like room, kind of, you can say virtual room here. That's pretty cool.
We only hate each other in character sometimes.
I think James and Titan would be more of a different discussion, though.
I really
moving on.
I really like this, and for one thing that I really want people in wrestling, backyard wrestling, underground wrestling, I want y'all to know you don't have to be ashamed of what you do. This is, if you love doing this, keep doing it. And if people hate on you for doing it on a trampoline, oh well, we gotta learn somewhere. Guess what? I can go on a trampoline and then go on a ring. I don't give a fuck. But you always got to have the heart. If you have the heart and you have the spirit and you want to do this, do it. Don't let somebody tell you that you're too small, that you're too big, that you can't do this and that you can't do that. Look, one of my best friends only has 2 fingers on his hand and he still does this shit. There's people there's people that say they can't do it, but there's one thing I've learned in life: can't, never, could, do nothing.
Amen.
And like you said, all wrestling matters, and I definitely want to be in a ring with these 2 men below me. I don't know how the camera looks like for everywhere else, but they're below where I'm at, and I want to be in the same arena with y'all. I want to actually share a ring and with a proper match or rumble match or whatever you want to go with, wherever we can be at. And Tom, I really think you got something good going on here. I don't know if I topped Austin G or not, but
no, I gotta be honest. I think you did top Austin G. I think that this was what we should be doing on Sportzwire. Listen, again, I want to let you go. I know we'll end on this. It's great to have Austin G, but I think the temperature tonight was Dalton Skull is one of us. He's a guy that grew up in our community, a guy that fought for our community, and a guy who fought for our community to come back to serve our community. And I think that that's what really this community is built upon. Austin G, again, I'm taking nothing away from what he's done for this sport, but he don't really care for most of the people here. He don't give 2 flying fill in the blanks. He don't need to. Listen, God bless him on that. But he doesn't care for Anthony. He don't care for Elman Black and James Taylor and Dalton Skull. He don't care for anyone.
Who's Austin G?
He's the ESW. He was the ESW Chuckaboo champion, but he was like, he's a Shawn Michaels clone. That's what he is. He's a 1997 Shawn Michaels clone. He's a fantastic talent. He's got a great look. I am taking nothing away from his ability, but I think people want guys like Dalton Skull to be here more often. I think that's what the people want. People want guys like Jake Matthews. People want guys like Anthony Steele. People want guys like James Taylor. People want guys like Omen Black.
No, they don't.
I want James Taylor, and I have to touch him. And that's what matters.
I have to give him shit, Tom.
People want guys like Mac 10 here. People want guys like Cato here. People want guys like, again, Soldier GP, even Justin Parsley. Justin Parsley's a guy people identify with. Sean Jovi. People want here. Those are the kind of people. Nicholas Crenson is somebody that people want here. People want Atomic Titan. Yeah, I want Atomic Titan here so he can stay here anytime and play on my team. The point is, yes.
Did you know they made an action figure of James Taylor?
And does James, have you sold it yet on the PWF page? Is it on our YouTube channel?
Yeah, look at him.
Well, that's obvious why the point is that and Dalton Skull is going to be a Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer. And I can't wait to have you back on, Dalton. It has been absolute honor. I can't wait next time to have you on. Go walk that dog. James Taylor and Anthony Steele, I'm seeing you tomorrow. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, and figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. I am your owner of the Promo Wrestling Federation. I'm of the Pride Elite Federation, Pride Wrestling Federation, and Dalton Skull. If you want to book him, follow him on Instagram. Get in touch with this man. He is the true comeback story of the year in wrestling. He is going to be, book your calendars for this at the end of the year when we have a Sportswire Radio Awards night. He will be the 2024 Comeback Wrestler of the Year. He will also be in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Mark your calendars. Get your shot glasses ready. Get your popcorn ready to pop nice. Get your lounge chair, sit up, get your gaming chair, whatever it might be. He's going to be getting all those awards. And I can't wait to be back here tomorrow on Sportswire Radio. If you're on sportswireradio.org, you're going back to your regular scheduled programming. If you're on the PWF's pages, I'll be back with more details later. James will be here Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time with more on that. I'm here twice tomorrow, 6 p.m. I'm with Napalm speaking of trampoline wrestling, legendary backyard wrestling in North Dakota. And also we're here 9:30 p.m. Eastern time with Joe Biddle. This will certainly be just as interesting as Bad Boys Ride or Die. And thank you, everybody.
Watch that.
We'll talk about that off the air. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one double reaction that is Sportswire Radio, where figuratively and literally all wrestling matters. Thank you, everybody.